Welcome to the Virtual Hackathon. We'll be getting started in just a moment. In the meantime, feel free to jump in the chat and say hello. Let's get ready to build some funnels.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's virtual hackathon. Hope you are all excited to get started today. I have some great funnels to teach you today. If you didn't know, this morning we are jumping into product launch funnels. So this is the type of funnel we are covering this morning. So this is a fantastic type of funnel to build out if you have sort of like a mid to high ticket price point offer and you want to spend some time with your customers before presenting them with that offer. So it's a great way to build trust with your potential customers before actually presenting them with the offer. It's a really awesome strategy. A lot of people absolutely just kill it with this type of funnel. It's one of my personal favorite funnels. When I first applied to work with ClickFunnels, I actually recorded myself building a product launch funnel, sent that in as like my application, and got a job with ClickFunnels. So I always love to teach you guys all about product launch funnels. So before we get started, guys, here is a quick overview of everything we'll be covering this morning in the virtual hackathons. We're going to start out with a quick introduction and some rules. We're going to dive into something called presentation funnels. We're going to look at our sample value ladder, and we're going to look at the framework of a product launch funnel. So I'm going to dissect all the steps of a product launch funnel for you. Then we'll go over some quick tips and things like that, and then we're just going to jump into my ClickFunnels account, build an entire product launch funnel completely from scratch. Then, as always, at the end, we will have a little Q&A session as well. And our Q&A session's a little bit different today, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So here's a quick intro. This is your virtual hackathon team. You have me on the left there, Gregory Dakins, your virtual hackathon manager. Adam Teese is on vacation for the rest of this week, so he's not with us today, but he is your virtual hackathon facilitator. And Andrew Clark is here as well. He is your virtual hackathon coordinator. If you'd ever like to learn more about the virtual hackathon team, just head over to virtualhackathons.com. At virtualhackathons.com, if you click on your host at the very top, that will scroll you right down to this little section right here where you can learn a little bit more about the team. Now, there's all kinds of other amazing resources for you on virtualhackathons.com. Recommend coming here, check it out, like the schedules at the top. There's some cool bonus videos, testimonials, and right here where it says asks if you're tired of missing hackathons, if you click on this button, you can enter your email or sign up through a messenger bot and get notified before the beginning of every single hackathon so that you never miss another one. So highly recommend checking that out as well. Now, we click, I do have some rules here for the virtual hackathon just so that everyone has a great experience this morning. Number one rule is just kind of common sense. Please do be kind and respectful to one another and the hosts. We have the chat system turned on. It's going to work a little bit differently today. So the chat system is there. You can ask questions in the chat. I'm kind of soloing it today for questions because Adam isn't here. So ask questions. If they're short questions related to what I'm showing on the screen, you can ask those in the chat. If you have like a longer question or something that's going to need a lot of discussion or just like an in-depth sort of analysis, I'll ask you to ask that in the Q&A section. You'll see on your screen, there's a little Q&A button. If you ask that, we usually just sort of wait until the end to use that, but I'll ask you to load up like in-depth questions in there until the end of the hackathon, because I don't have Adam with me today answering questions in the chat. So I'll try my best to answer all questions in the chat. If I don't get your question answered in the chat as we're moving along, just ask your question in the Q&A section, and we'll have a whole session just for all the questions just as soon as we're done building our product launch funnel today. So went pretty smoothly yesterday afternoon. I think we can pull it off again. So a couple other rules on here. One is just that we can't assist with any custom code solutions. And the other is that we cannot build your funnel for you, but we're going to teach you all kinds of things here for things that you can take with you to assist yourself with building funnels on your own. And then lastly, if you have some type of bug to report or a feature to request, you'll need to send that over to support@clickfunnels.com. We won't be able to log that for you here during the hackathon. And you can also just right inside of your ClickFunnels account, if you get stuck on anything at any time, you can always reach out to our support team right here by clicking this little blue button, and you'll get in contact with them right from here. So I should emphasize that this is not live chat right here. You know, it looks like live chat, but there is a queue system. Depending on the current queue, response times can vary, but I promise you, you will get someone responding to you on the other end there, and they will be amazing. Everyone on the virtual hackathon team has actually come from support in one way or another. And Lucy asked if this is good for affiliate marketing. Typically a product launch funnel you would probably use for selling an offer, but you're gonna see once I show you how this funnel works, like you're gonna need a series of like lessons and stuff. If you can create some series that are good for selling someone else's product, you could technically at the end of this funnel send them over to someone else's order form. So you could use it. All right. Now guys, I wanna show you a few other resources you have available just in case you ever get stuck inside of, in case you ever get stuck while you're not inside of a hackathon. I don't want you to feel like you've reached like an unpassable roadblock. You have so many resources available to you as a ClickFunnels Platinum member. It is absolutely insane. So first of all, in case you guys don't know, we do these hackathons every single day, Monday to Friday, unless there's a holiday. There's a holiday this Friday. And we do them at 9 a.m. Eastern time and 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're ever stuck on something, you can always just jump into a hackathon, ask a question. I know each hackathon we're covering a different type of funnel, but you can ask any questions inside the hackathons. No questions are left unanswered. Now, you can always find what hackathons are taking place on your dashboard calendar. This little badge in the top will tell you which one's happening right now or about to happen soon. Just giving you like a little heads up what's coming up soon. And if you look on your dashboard calendar, you can click on any day and you'll see exactly which hackathons are taking place that day. For example, this morning we're doing product launch funnels, and this afternoon I'm teaching you guys how to build your high ticket application phone funnels. So you can click on any day, see which ones are happening. If you want to sign up for the hackathons, you just click on the titles here, click on this button, or from inside of Funnelflix, click on the virtual hackathon badge you see at the top, and that will take you to this page right here. It'll log you right into a ClickFunnels membership area here, or our virtual hackathon membership area. And right on the first section here, you'll see there's a little intro video and little buttons to register for each of the sessions. So the way it works now is you register once for the entire week. So at the end of the day tomorrow, this will switch over and it'll show you next week's schedule, and you'll have to register again for all the sessions next week. But you register for each session and give you access to that entire week. So right now you guys are all signed up for session 1 since you're here. So you're already automatically registered for tomorrow morning session. But if you'd like to attend this afternoon, you need to come down here, click on the registration button and sign up. So lots of resources in here for you guys as well. All kinds of amazing material. We'll refer to this little membership area a few times. You can also access this membership area right from inside of Funnelflix, which is an insane resource for you guys. If you click on Funnelflix training from your dashboard here, you'll actually see I have virtual hackathons up here and virtual hackathons right here. Either of those buttons will take you to that same membership area. Now, one program I need to point out for you guys here, right inside of the virtual hack, or inside of Funnelflix, is this first one right here. It's called Funnel Hacking Secrets. It says start here. Funnel Hacking Secrets is the perfect accompaniment for the virtual hackathons. You'll see in the virtual hackathon membership area, we link you to all kinds of content inside of here, inside of Funnel Hacking Secrets. In Funnel Hacking Secrets, Russell put this together for you guys, and he goes over these core concepts at the top here, like secret formula, hook, story, offer, and the value ladder. These are essential for building your foundation. Inside of the virtual hackathon membership area, I have a little success guide here for you. It's sort of like a little step-by-step. They'll help you with all the different pieces. So I have a whole section here called Building the Foundation, and it has links to each of those little lessons from Funnel Hacking Secrets. So you want to build the foundation before you start building a funnel. You want to know things like who your dream customers are, how to find them, what your offer is going to be, what's the offer that'll best suit the people that you're targeting. So you need some training on how to actually put your offer together. You need to know what type of funnel will work best for your offer. All those little training videos will help you with finding those things out. It's going to be a little bit different for everyone's business because everyone's business is different. But some amazing material here. Then a little checklist for when you're doing what we're doing here in the hackathons. We're going to walk you through all this. And then some advice for what you're going to do after you build your funnel as well. But in here in Funnel Hacking Secrets, Russell goes over those things. But then he dives into the concepts and the strategies of all of the funnels that we cover inside of the hackathons. So Russell in here will teach you the strategy part of everything. And then he leaves it up to me and Adam and Andrew in the virtual hackathons to teach you how to actually build these funnels step by step. So today we are doing product launch funnels this morning, which is a type of presentation funnel. So if you come down to product launch funnels in here, I should have a video of here, Russell teaching you the strategy behind product launch funnels. And then there's all these free product launch funnel templates that you can load right into your ClickFunnels account. We're actually going to use one of these to build our funnel today. So I'm going to keep this open. We're going to come back to this. If you're in the virtual hackathon membership area, there's a whole section here, strategy stuff. This links you to all of that content inside of Funnel Hacking Secrets as well. Sorry, they changed the name recently. So highly, highly recommend going through those whenever you're coming into a hackathon because they go hand in hand. Russell's going to teach you the strategy. I'm going to teach you how to actually build the funnel. Now, did have one last rule on here. It says make sure you take notes and follow along. But guys, don't feel like you need to take notes on every single little detail because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. We're going to be covering a lot of things today. We're going to be building the funnel. We're going to be building all our lists. We're going to be building the backend funnel, so our follow-up funnels. We're going to be connecting and automating everything. So there's a lot to cover. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by that. So what I want you to do is just take sort of broad general notes, things you might want to start working on. And then what I'm going to do is if you stick with me till the end of the hackathon, I'm going to show you exactly where you can go to get access to a recording of this session afterwards so you can come back, pause the video, and slow things down. So just stick with me till the end. I'll show you exactly how to access the recordings of the virtual hackathons. They're not that hard to find. You may have already figured it out, but I'm still going to hook you to the end. All right. Jennifer asked if we're doing follow-up funnels today. Yes, we do that every single session. All right, so guys, as I mentioned, product launch funnels are a type of presentation funnel. Presentation funnels fall somewhere around here in our sample value ladder. You don't know what sample value ladder is, and you don't know what I'm talking about with presentation funnels, right there in Funnel Hacking Secrets, full video here on presentation funnels, and you have the video here on the value ladder. But quick explanation, value ladder, it simply works like this. The more value you provide someone with your offer, the more money you can charge for that value. Presentation funnels, if you look in Funnel Hacking Secrets, under presentation funnels here, there's four different core types of presentation funnels. Two of them we covered yesterday. So video sales letter funnels and webinar funnels. And then today we're finishing it off with product launch funnels. All of these funnels are types of funnels that allow us to spend a lot of time with our customers. So typically with one of these types of funnels, like a product launch funnel, we're going to be selling something in like the mid to high ticket price point. So usually somewhere anywhere from like $100 to like $3,000 is where we see offers in these types of funnels. Definitely just typical numbers we see. There's definitely outliers on both sides of that. But the reason why these are categorized as presentation funnels is they allow us to spend more time with our customers. So we did video sales letter funnels yesterday. This is where we had like either a really long video on our sales page or like a video with a lot of copywriting for people to read, right? Those long form sales letter pages. It takes a lot of time to go through all that, right? We're spending lots of time with our customers by doing that. In webinar funnels, we got everyone onto a call for like an hour or two, spending tons of time with our customer. With presentation funnels, we're going to do something similar as well. We are going to be spending lots of time with our customers. We're going to be doing it through a series of lessons. And the whole reason we want to spend more time with our customers is because of that price point here, right? $100 to like $3,000, that's not an insignificant amount of money for most people. So we need to help make them comfortable with making that purchase from us. So we're going to like share our stories with them, walk them through the epiphany bridge, help them understand that our offer is the solution that's going to take them away from the pain point that your offer solves for people. So spend more time with them, use one of these funnels. So with a product launch funnel, it's going to end up looking something like this. We are going to start off with a registration page. This registration page, I'm going to say, hey guys, you can sign up now and get access to all these free lessons from my web class. So they enter in their email, and right away it's going to take them to a page where they get access to the first intro video of my web class. Then a day after they signed up, I'm going to send them an email giving them access to the first lesson. Watch the first lesson and they're done. The day after that, we send them another email. They get access to the next lesson. The day after that, the next lesson. And eventually I present them with a special offer. So I send them an email. There's a link to a page where there's a video of me going over my special offer just for them. So all these lessons that I'm going to provide tons of value inside of before presenting them with an offer. And then on the video where I have the offer, there's a little button they can click on. If they click on that, it's going to take them to an order form where they can purchase my offer. Now, yesterday, I built a product launch funnel, and I showed you guys how to build it sort of modeled around Russell's perfect webinar model, which you can learn in 10x secrets inside of Funnelflix. And basically, what I told you guys at the end of yesterday's hackathon was that we could use this type of funnel to automate our webinar funnel. So you can take your webinar presentation, break it up into like an intro, all the lessons you're going to teach in your webinar, and then your offer, right? That's basically the same thing that I'm doing here. When they sign up, they get access to my intro video right away. Then over X amount of days, I'm going to give them access to all my lessons. So if I had 3 lessons, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and then I'm going to send them a video with my special offer. It's the same format as my webinar presentation. I can literally just chunk up my webinar and release it as a series of lessons. And then we can automate this webinar so that we're not doing it live all the time. We let people go through it sort of at their own pace. So we can't talk about product launch funnels without mentioning someone named Jeff Walker. Some of you might know who Jeff is. Jeff is a very successful marketer, one of Russell's friends. He's talked at some of our past FHLs. He's sort of the godfather of product launch funnels. The way he describes this is similar to how I'm saying I can just take my webinar funnel and sort of extend the amount of time it takes someone to go through all the content. He's saying what he describes it is basically you can take your sales letter funnel. So maybe you have like a long form sales letter funnel, take all the content that you teach in your sales letter funnel, And instead of making them scroll down forever and forever and forever, we're going to topple the sales letter funnel on its side and release it through video release it through a series of videos to extend that amount of time that we're spending with our customers. So you might want to think about it like that way as well. The same like message you might use in your sales copy, you can release as lessons as well. In a long form sales letter, like you're teaching them things as they go through, right? You're hooking your story and your offer, you're walking them through the epiphany bridge, and then eventually present them with that offer. It's the same idea here, just we're giving it to them over an extended amount of time. We're giving them piece by piece. And by doing that, as long as we have great content, we're hooking them to each next lesson. It's going to build tons of excitement and anticipation leading up to the actual offer. So it's really important, like in these lessons, before presenting them with the offer, we want to make sure we give them great content there that provides tons of value to them. Because what that does is it builds a relationship between us and them. It builds trust between us and them. Each day they're getting into these lessons and learning from us, learning that they can trust us. Well, then by the time I present them with the offer, it's a no-brainer for them, right? They're going to think, hey, I got all this value from Greg over the last 3 days for free. I didn't pay Greg anything. He taught me all this stuff that I can now take and use in my business. The value I get when I give Greg my money has to be even crazier, right? It's got to be better than what he gave me for free. So make sure you give them great content here. Same thing goes with like your sales messages in a sales letter funnel or your lessons inside of a webinar funnel. So I want to show you guys a great example of how ClickFunnels actually used this funnel. I don't think we use this funnel any longer, but at one point, anyone who purchased the Expert Secrets book funnel got an email afterwards with a link to this funnel. And this was a funnel that we were using to move people up our value ladder. So what they did, if someone bought a book, they're sort of at that unboxing funnel level, right? Free plus shipping book funnel. Maybe they only bought the book. And then a little bit afterwards, we sent them an email. The link to this funnel was like, hey, everyone who bought the book gets access to this free web class. They came to this page, they entered in their email. Right away, they got access to the intro video. You have little thumbnails here. These are all the lessons you're going to learn. And then they got access to the first lesson, second lesson, the third lesson, and then a special offer. Now, you guys might be looking at the titles of these lessons and you might recognize them. If any of you guys were around back when we were doing the Funnel Hacks webinar, this is actually all the sections of Russell's Funnel Hacks webinar. His intro, the 3 lessons you learned, so funnel hacking, funnel cloning, and #1 traffic hack. And then you got an email with a link to this page which had a special offer. If you clicked on the button, it took you right to the Funnel Hacks order form. So he literally just took his webinar funnel, split it up into 5 different videos, and releases it like this. Now, one thing that the ClickFunnels team did do here is they have these little buttons that are allowing people to move through at their own pace. Personally, I usually don't do that, but it's mostly related to how I'm getting people onto this page. Now, ClickFunnels was sending this page to people already on their list, people that have already purchased from them. So they can collect their email here, and honestly, like if you send it through ClickFunnels and they're on the same device that they purchased through before, email will probably already be filled in for them. So they know they're probably getting a good email here. Even if they don't, they already know they have this customer's email if it brought them to this page. So they're not so concerned about getting a good email here. So they allow them to go through at their own pace. Personally, if I'm going to let them go through the lessons at their own pace, I wait until lesson 1. I'll give them access to the intro right away, but then I'll say, check your inbox for the first lesson. It's on its way. That way, if they give me a bogus email here, get to hear, love the intro, and then below it read, oh, shoot, I gave Greg a bogus email. Now I got to go back and give my real email if I want to get access to all these lessons, right? So then they'll go back and give me the real email address here. Also on here, I could be like, give me your best email. I'm gonna send you all of my lessons. And they'll give me an email where they can actually access the lessons. So little strategies like that will get you good emails on here. All right, so Why would we use product launch funnels? Well, one, use product launch funnels if you have a high value offer to sell at a higher price point, because these are funnels that are going to allow you to spend more time with your customers to make them comfortable with making those higher ticket purchases from you. It's also a great way to build excitement because you're going to do it day by day if you do it the way I'm about to set it up. Hook them to each next lesson, build excitement and anticipation about each lesson. So by the time they get to our offer, they're just chomping at the bit. It's also a great type of funnel to use if you have like a big special coming up or a holiday special. Want to get people excited leading up to a specific date. It's fantastic for that as well. If we actually want to build this, we do need a few things. First thing we need is the tool to create this funnel with. Luckily, that's how we all got onto the call today. So we all have number one. We also need an offer with multiple pieces and bonuses for our offer stack and our offer video. We need a series of videos for the content in each lesson. And we need the funnel itself. So I'm going to show you my framework that I'm going to use to build this funnel in just a moment. I literally just sketch out a little map in my notebook and I take a picture to show you guys, but it helps me stay focused on what I'm building. I'm going to show you that in just a second. And we're going to use a follow-up funnel to automate all those emails that are going to send out to people to give them access to each of the lessons. So when we are done building the funnel, it's going to look something like this. We're going to have an opt-in page or a sign-up page, whatever you want to call it. And then anyone who signs up here gets taken to the thank you page, which is actually going to be my intro lesson. So right on the thank you page is going to have my first video on it. Then over the next 4 days in this particular series, they're going to get access to each of the lessons after that. So everyone who signs up here on my registration form, I'm going to add them to a registration list. I'm going to connect that list to a follow-up funnel sequence, which is going to send out a series of automated emails that's going to give them access to each of these pages down here. So mine's 4 days worth of lessons. I'm just taking the sections of a webinar. Depending on what you have planned out, it doesn't necessarily have to be 4 lessons after the thank you page like this. It could be X amount of lessons for you. Now, anyone who gets onto that registration list, I said I'm going to add them to a follow-up funnel. The follow-up funnel will end up looking something like this. We're going to build all this out in our ClickFunnels account today. So if you're looking at this and it looks foreign to you, don't worry. I'm going to explain it all. We're going to actually build it. But we're going to connect the list to here as well and say anytime someone gets onto that registration list, 1 day later, send them an email giving them access to the first lesson, 2 days later to the second lesson, so on, so on, and so on. So what I did, like I said, is I mapped out a little, or sketched out a little map in my notebook, and I took a picture for you guys. In here, we have our sign up page and our thank you page. Everyone who gets to that thank you page gets added to the reg list, and we send them the emails. Now the fourth email I'm sending out on day 4 is my special offer, and it's going to have a button on it, and that button's going to link them to our order form. So someone asked earlier if you could use this for affiliate offers. This button would send them to the affiliate link. I'm going to have this button send them to the order form from my webinar funnel, but you could just have the order form be the next step in the funnel as well. It depends on how you want to set it up. We're going to save a little bit of time today since we're automating my webinar from yesterday. I'm going to send them right to the same order form so I don't have to build it out again. But I could have that order form be the next step in this funnel. So this is the framework we're going to use. I see a bunch of questions coming in already. I'm going to try to address a few of these before we get started. So let me go through these. People asking about the recordings, guys. I'm going to show you where the recordings are at the end of the hackathon. So you have to stick with me till the end. Gloria says, is this like Seinfeld emails? Kind of, but a little bit different. So your Seinfeld emails, those are, I believe those are actually your daily one-off emails. So those are your broadcast emails. We actually did those yesterday. These are actually more of your soap opera sequence emails because you're hooking people to each day and they're automated emails. So we're sending the emails out based on when someone actually signed up. Your Seinfeld emails is like, because they're like it's like a Seinfeld, each episode of Seinfeld didn't really relate to the next episode. It's kind of just like your one-offs. So those are our broadcast emails. I showed you guys how to do those yesterday, so you'll find those in the recordings, Gloria. Ray said, he has opt-in page and a payment page, but no one has paid for it. What has happened? There could be tons of factors involved in that, Ray. If you need someone to look at your specific funnel, I would recommend going into the virtual hackathon community. So log into FunnelFlix, click on ClickFunnels community, and then go to this section right here called Funnel Audibles. You can get your funnel reviewed right here. So usually it comes down to your hook, story, and offer. So make sure you go through all the hook, story, and offer training inside of FunnelFlix. But that's my best advice, is post your funnel in here and you can get it reviewed by other members of the community and some of our amazing moderators. Kathy says she put a question in the community forum on June 26th. No one has replied. Yeah, you'll have, Kathy, I will try to see if I can get someone to reply to that one. But if it's you're trying to get someone to visit your funnel, I'd recommend posting it in this topic. Kathy, if you want Kathy's looking for assistance with AdWords, I would recommend going into FunnelFlix and then scroll down to the traffic section. If you go to Ad Skills right here, and if you scroll down, let's see, there's Bulletproof AdWords right here. So this is where you'll find assistance with your ads inside of there. We don't really cover traffic inside of the hackathon itself. So if you're having any issues with traffic, I'd recommend reaching out in the community or the Facebook group. Andrew says he feels like the pic of the sketch was taken by a spy. No, I just took a picture with my camera of my notepad. There's actually like softwares that you can use to build out these funnel maps. So there's like things like Funnalytics and Guru, things like that, where you actually like build it out on your computer. Sometimes I'll do it in like Photoshop or even right inside of Google Slides. You can like, there's like shape tools and stuff. Sometimes I'll do that. It's a lot cleaner, but I don't know, I'm kind of old school. I like to just do it right on my notepad. And Gloria said, what do you use for copy? I use something called Funnel Scripts, Gloria. It's not included with ClickFunnels, but if you go into FunnelFlix and just search copywriting up here, there's tons of copywriting training right inside of FunnelFlix. Specifically, if you go to, where is it? Under funnel building, and the One Funnel Away Challenge and Funnel Builder Secrets, they both have sections on copywriting, and some of these have copywriting as well. M&O Subscriber Reviver Challenge will be really helpful with copywriting, and also 21-day challenge. There's some great sessions on copywriting in there as well. All right, guys. We have a funnel to build here. So what I'm going to do is turn off my camera for the sake of our recording. Again, I'll show you where to get that recording at the end of the hackathon. And we're going to jump right into my ClickFunnels account. So right here, my ClickFunnels account, we can start building a funnel right from the top here. If we click on Build a Funnel, start building a funnel from here. And Dominic just asked if you can use a product launch funnel for coaching or consulting offer. Yes, you can use it for any offer you want. You just have to put together the lessons that are going to give people some value before presenting them with your offer. So right from my dashboard, I can click on Build a Funnel. We can start building our funnel right from here. We can also go to ClickFunnels and then Build a Funnel and start building a funnel. We can also go to ClickFunnels and then Funnels and start building a funnel. In here, when we go to ClickFunnels and then Funnels, it takes us to this big list of funnels currently in our account. We click on Add New at the top here, and we get presented with two options. One is the Classic Funnel Builder. The other is the Cookbook Builder process. I recommend using the Cookbook Builder process. The Classic Funnel Builder is more of like our V1 version for building funnels inside of ClickFunnels. When you use this one, it gives you the steps of the funnel, but no templates are selected for the steps. So you have to like choose the design template for each step of the funnel. When you use the Cookbook Builder, it actually has all of the design selected for each of the steps, so it matches for each step. Now, if we click on the cookbook, what we want to do is you'll see when the cookbook was released, there's like all kinds of different funnels you can use as a starting point in here. All you have to do is scroll through these until you find product launch funnels. Click on select this funnel. In here, you'll find a little video from Russell talking about product launch funnels. If you scroll down, there are some free templates you can load right into your ClickFunnels account. So if you click on any of these, it'll give you a little preview of all the steps included. So you just want to find one that works as best with your little funnel map that you've created. So you can do this in your notepad, you can do it with Funnelytics, Guru, wherever. Try to find a template in here that goes best with this. So ours would have actually a little bit of extra work to do, right? So what we're gonna do is we could use this one, but I remember I showed you guys inside of Funnel Hacking Secrets where we can get even more cool templates. These ones are nice, but the ones inside Funnel Hacking Secrets, they're kind of like special, right? They're in this little special membership area. So what I did was go into Funnelflix, load up Funnel Hacking Secrets, and then go down to, under presentation funnels, go to product launch funnels. Then we're going to do is we're going to come down here. I'm going to select this one right here. Furthest to the left, second down. I'm going to click right here. Now, it's loading it into my account. I happen to be a sub-user of Sarah's account, so it's asking me if I want to add to my account or Sarah's account. So I'm just going to choose my own account. For you, if you're not a sub-user on someone else's account, it'll probably just load it right into your account. So we got to give this a second. It's loading in here. Christopher's asking, how do I add my blueprints? You don't have to add your blueprint anywhere. It's just a little like guide or map for yourself for while you're building. I did it in my notepad. I'm just going to have that in front of my computer while I work on my funnel. If you want to load a template into your account, you can just do what I just did. All right, so the funnel loaded into my account, and now I'm just going to click here on View Funnel. So I click on View Funnel. Check this out. The funnel is built inside of my account. So when I selected this template, it gave me quite a few pages here, right? So we have the sign up page, and then we have basically, these are like the lesson pages. And then eventually there's an order form and an order confirmation. Now, we're actually gonna end up deleting, it's nice that it gives me this many steps, like it gave me a bunch of like pages for the lessons, but I'm actually gonna delete most of them. And it'll make sense in a moment why we're gonna delete most of these. So first off, we could, like I mentioned, you could keep the order form step and the order confirmation, but to save time, I'm gonna use my order form that I built yesterday. But then we have all the lesson pages. We could go in and edit each lesson page, but if I want the design to be the same across each lesson page, there's a huge time saver that'll save us tons of time with this. So let's go back for a second. Let's look at that ClickFunnels example. My first lesson page, right? With my intro lesson, they get access to right away. The actual layout of this page is pretty much the same for all my other lessons, right? So the template I selected has all these extra lessons in here, but if I want to change the design and layout of it at all, that means I'd have to go into each individual step and change it in all of them so that everything matches. So what we're going to do before we add anything to these additional lessons is we're going to delete the additional lessons. We're going to start with just our first lesson. We're going to nail down the design, be 100% happy with it. And once we have that design nailed down, we're going to clone that page to make exact duplicates of it to create all of our other lesson pages. So really all I need in my funnel right now is the sign up page and the first lesson page. So sorry, let's go back into, here it is. Let's go back into my funnel here. All I need is this and this. I'm going to delete the rest of these steps. So I'm going to click the red X beside each of these lesson steps. And you'll see when we build this out how much easier it is. I know it seems weird to delete these out of here, but it's actually going to make it easier. There we go. So my opt-in step and my first lesson page. I called it a product launch sales page. If you ever want to rename the title of a page, just click on this little settings gear right here beside the URL. You can make this be called whatever you want. So I'm just going to call this my intro lesson. See, now it updates. Okay, so we're going to work on these pages. We're going to get started on them in just a moment. But what I'm going to do first is configure some of my funnel settings. So I have some overall general funnel settings up here in the right in this blue toolbar. If I click on the settings button right here, it'll take me to this page where you'll see the name is in here, the group tag's in here, and there's all kinds of settings I can configure in here. So first off, I'm going to change the name of this funnel. I'm just going to call this the Virtual Hackathon PLF funnel. I'll just say PLF. Well, PLF stands for product launch funnel. So instead of the product launch funnel, I'll just call it the product launch funnel. And I'm going to put today's date just because we do these every day or every week in the hackathons. So there's the name of my funnel. Then we're going to update this thing here called a group tag. So a group tag will actually be seen in that big list of funnels I showed you earlier. So let's go back to that in another tab here. Give this a second. There we go. So this is that list of funnels in my account. If I go to click funnels and then funnels, my funnel currently shows up right here, PLF funnel 4 under this group tag called shared funnels. That's the funnel we have open right here. So the group tag is just this little title here at the top. It's essentially a folder. You can see you can have more than one in your list of funnels, and you can click on them to expand and contract them. So they just kind of help you organize your list of funnels. So right now mine's in this one called shared funnels. If I want to move it into this one called new folder, all I have to do in here is click this X and then type in new folder, click right here. I could also type in the name of a brand new group tag and it would add that into the list of funnels, and I just have the one funnel inside of there. Next up, I'm going to configure a few things. So if you go here to domain, I'm going to add a custom domain to my ClickFunnels account. So if I hit this drop down, it'll show all the domains I currently have connected to my account. So the next few things I'm going to connect here are things that I had to connect to my ClickFunnels account. If you don't have these things yet, don't worry. Right after I'm done connecting them, I'm going to show you where you can get instructions on how to connect them to your account. So under domain here, I'm going to put all my pages on this domain, gregorycf.com. So now all the pages in my funnel will show up on that. I'm also going to set an SMTP configuration. So an SMTP is, this is confusing for a lot of people. An SMTP is what's going to handle the delivery of any of the emails I design and schedule inside of my ClickFunnels account. So ClickFunnels allows me to design and schedule really awesome emails for marketing, but the actual delivery of those emails needs to be handled by something called an SMTP configuration. So to keep it simple, just think of an SMTP as your delivery man. So it's going to pick up the package and deliver it to its destination. It's going to pick up the email we design and schedule, deliver it to the recipient's inbox. Every email sending software out there uses an SMTP in the background. You probably just don't realize it, but most of them don't let you control who's actually doing that, and it can be important. So ClickFunnels gives you full control over which SMTP is handling the delivery of your emails. So I have one here called SendGrid. It's already connected here. That's what's going to handle the delivery of any of the emails from this funnel. And then down here, it's not as important in this funnel since I'm using the order form from my webinar funnel. But if I had the order form in this funnel, I'd want to make sure I have a payment gateway connected to it. So payment gateway is what processes any credit cards on the order form that I'm going to design inside of my ClickFunnels account. So there's all kinds of security involved and stuff with processing credit cards. This is going to do that for me. I'm going to collect the money and send it right into my bank account. So I'm just going to choose the one here that I'd want any sales from this funnel to go into, and then I would turn on test mode as well. But since my order form isn't in this funnel, it's not as big of a deal in this particular funnel. And then I'm just going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on Save and Update Settings. So if you heard me describing that and you don't have your custom domain, you don't have an SMTP, you don't have a payment gateway, don't worry. I have you covered. What you'll want to do is get into that virtual hackathon membership area. Again, you just click on virtual hackathons here or here inside of FunnelFlix. So it'll load this up. And then I have a whole section for you guys here. It's called the tech stuff. Number one, I'll show you how to connect your domain. Number two, I'll show you how to create your own professional email address using your custom domain if you want. And number three, I'll show you how to connect that SMTP integration. And number four, we'll show you how to connect the payment gateway. So just go through these videos, do exactly what I do, and you'll be able to set your funnel settings just as quickly as I did. I saw Chris asking, how does he set up an SMTP? If you don't have one already, follow these videos, Chris. Get into the virtual hackathon membership area, follow this, and you'll be all set. And all the ways that I show you how to do this in here, you get started for free with all these. You get started for free with all the platforms I show you how to set these up with. All right, so once you do that, you can set your funnel settings just as quickly as I did. And now we're ready to actually start working on this funnel. So our product launch funnel starts out with just an opt-in form, right? A little sign-up form. If we look back at that ClickFunnels example, they're just collecting their email, showing them some of the lessons they'll get access to. Little teasers here. It's like what you're gonna unlock if you give me your email. And then we send them to the intro video. So let's load this page up in the editor. All right, so on this page, let's just start from the top. We have some little thumbnail previews up here, and then we have a little sign up form. These are the two pieces that I like to cover in a product launch funnel sign up form. Thumbnail teasers here at the top. I like to set these up a little bit differently, but I basically want to say like, hey, if you sign up for my free web class, you're going to unlock all these lessons. I'm going to have like these little images, and they're going to have little lock symbols. So when like people see that, just like instantly want to unlock them, right? It's almost like turns it into a little game for them. So the way they build these out is actually not very complicated. It's just 4 images inside of a 4-column row. I almost forgot. Some of you are probably very new to using ClickFunnels, and you may not know how to use the editor. So I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of how it all works. It all starts with a background. And then on top of your background, you can add sections, rows, columns, and elements. We set our background by going to settings and then background. Inside of here, you see you can set an image or just set a background color. So right now I have a background image set, and this is the URL of it. If I actually deleted that, you see that whole background we see behind there goes away. So keep that in there. The other thing you can do is there's a little, this is called your image library button. You'll see it beside any image URL field. If you click on this image library button, it loads up your own image library where you can upload your own images right into your ClickFunnels account. So you just click on upload, and you can upload images from your own computer. You can just drag the files into here and upload them into your ClickFunnels account. And then you can use those images in your funnel. So like here, I have a little background image, and then all of a sudden it looks way different, right? Then on top of, actually, let's change that back. I like the other one more. On top of that background is where we have our sections, rows, columns, and elements. So our sections are these little green outlines that you see on the page. So I have one section here with nothing in it. Then I have a section here with all this stuff in it. Inside of our sections is where we put our rows. So our sections and our rows kind of make up the layout of the page. Now our sections, like they have their own settings here where we can change like background colors or have background images for those entire sections. I could make this like red, right? And change the opacity here. Or we could use a background image just for this one section. And then they can also be stacked on top of each other. So wherever you see this green plus sign, you can add another section in below that plus sign. So I could add like another section right here. Inside of this section is where I add the rows. So if we add a row here, you'll see rows can have multiple columns and they can be stacked on top of each other as well. So I could have like a 1 column row, and then my rows use these blue plus signs. I could have a 2 column row below it. And then inside of those columns is where we have all of our elements, which make up like the bulk of the content. Also our rows, like they have their own settings that can have their own background colors or background images as well. So you can get kind of fancy with this stuff. But inside of each of these columns is where you add your elements. You see it says add new element. So we can add all kinds of things. There's tons of different elements. We have like headlines and let's see, like video elements and image elements. Every element has its own settings. So we're going to cover quite a few of these today. Lucy just asked about video. I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up your videos in a little bit. Don't worry, it's coming. So with a couple of the most common ones are like images and text elements. If we double click in a text element, that's how you can change what it says. Right? If we go into the settings of that element, so if we hover over an element and click on the settings gear, we can adjust size, adjust the actual font that it's using, all kinds of cool things inside the settings here. Images, we're going to use these a ton as well. The images, we have an image field right here where the URL is similar to the background I just worked on. If we click on there, it teaches us how to, it brings us to our image library. And again, Lucy, I'm going to show you how to do the videos. You don't actually upload videos into your image library. We're going to be working on that. Don't worry, we're getting to it. Okay, so you can choose any of our images we want here. So I have my virtual hackathon logo uploaded already. I can just select that right from here. Maybe I want to use white text. Pops out a little bit more, and there we go. All right, so that's essentially how it works. Our elements go inside of our rows. Our rows can have multiple columns, and our rows go inside of our sections. They all have their own settings, right? Oh, sorry, just like how our rows could be stacked on top of each other and our sections got stacked on top of each other, our elements can be stacked on top of each other as well. So just use that orange plus sign, and we could add like a button or something here, right? Okay, so we're gonna delete this and start with what we had. The nice thing is when you select a template, like most of this is already done for you, right? You have the layout, you just sort of have to like update what the words say and update the images to your own images. Makes it nice and easy. You don't have to be a designer. It's all done for you. So that's why I love it. So this up here, this is those little preview images. I like to set mine up a little bit differently. And what I do is simply just add a 4-column row onto my page. Not every sign up page you might start with will actually have this. I love to have this for product launch funnels. It makes them like so much more curious. The more curiosity you create, like the more likely someone is to sign up. So what we're going to do here is add a 4-column row. And I'm going to build out a little bit different. What I'm going to do first is build out the very left column. This is where I'm going to put my first lesson. So the first thing I'm going to add onto here, I'm going to add an element. So it's empty. So I can just click here on add new element. I'm just going to use a little sub headline here. Now I can't really read it right now, right? And that's because of the text color. I'm going to go into the settings here. Go to text color. You can set a different color for your regular text and a different color for your bold text. So you might want to take that into consideration. I'm actually going to bold this and I'm going to make it, this orange color right here. So I don't see that orange color on here. I could try to like move my color selector around and get that color, right? I want to show you guys a really cool trick. So if you go into the settings of any element that's currently using a color that you want to use, go into the settings, you'll see the color block with that color selected. If you click on that color block, it'll be selected and it'll give you a little code here at the bottom. This is called a hex code. A hex code is like a universal color code. A I could use this code inside of any platform that supports hex codes and get an exact color match. So it's really cool. So what I can actually do is just copy this, go into the element I want to use it in, go into the settings, go, say we'll make it the bold color. And I can literally just use Control V on my keyboard, Command V if you're on a Mac, paste that code in here, we get an exact color match. And then what's really cool is once we use it a few times, it shows up here under our recently used colors, and it'll just be there for us to access. We'll change the regular text color as well. There we go. So in here, what I'm going to do is erase this, and I'm going to put in lesson 1. And let's bold that. All right. So there's the little title. And below that, I'm going to put a little video, an image of a video that makes it look like all kind of like locked down. I'm going to show you guys a really cool tool for creating these little images that look like videos as well. So we're going to add an image element. Let's go into the settings of this image element. In the settings of every element, you'll actually have something called top margin. You'll see this just controls how close or far away my element is from the element above it. Let's make it like 5 right now. I'm going to go into my image library here. I'm going to use this image right here that has a little play button on it. But I'm going to show you guys how you can actually add play buttons to your images. So what you do is like take like a little screenshot of one of the frames of your video, whatever, or the lesson or something related to the lesson. And you'll end up with an image, right? So here I have this image on my desktop on my computer. It's called differentname.jpg. What I'm gonna do is go to, here, we're gonna go to clickfunnels.com/business-tools. This is brand new. These are some little business tools that our team made available for everyone. And if you scroll down, the second business tool in here is called Add Play Button. And here, I'll paste this in the chat for everybody. You click on this, so you can add a play button to any image you want. Super easy. So all I do is click here on Choose File, find that image on my computer, select it, click on this button that says Add Play Button, and then boom. That easy. Just like that, I don't have to mess around with Photoshop or anything. I have a play button over my image. And I can just click here to download. And then in my image library, I can literally just drag this into here. And I already have it in here a couple times. So let's just delete this. If you ever want to delete an image out of your image library, click on it once to select it, and then click on this little trash can over here. And it'll remove it. So, didn't remove it. Try that again. There we go. So all I'm going to do is it downloaded the file right here. I'm just going to drag it into here, and it starts uploading. And there I have it. So I can select this, and there we go. There's my first little video thumbnail, image thumbnail, I guess. Then I'm going to configure a few settings for this image element itself. I want to make it look like it's kind of locked down. If I go over to advanced, I'm going to do a couple things in here. Under opacity, I'm going to switch this from fully visible to like a light or a strong fade. And then under grayscale effects, instead of using full color, I'm going to switch this to black and white. Maybe we do strong fade. Yeah, that's all right. Oh, then I'm also going to, I like to do this under border, add a white thumbnail border. Just makes it stand out a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is below this little thumbnail preview, I'm going to have another text element that says locked, and it's going to have a little locked icon with it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to clone this lesson 1 text so I can use it again. So if you hover over any element, beside this little trash can, there's a little clone button. If we click on that, we get an exact duplicate. This is going to save us a ton of time, not just setting up our little thumbnail preview row here, but it can save you a ton of time with like anything you do inside of the editor. Use this all the time. So I'm going to pull this down. I'm literally just going to click on it and drag and drop. See this orange bar that's moving around on the screen? That's controlling where that's going to go when I let go of my mouse. So I want that to go below the image. So now it says lesson 1. I'm going to click in here. Instead of lesson 1, I'm going to say locked. Let's go into the settings of this. Now I might add a little top margin there, space it out a little bit. I'm going to change the color here to white as well. Now we're going to add an icon to the beginning of this. We're going to add a little lock symbol. So to add an icon into your text element, all you do is go over to the advanced settings and find this setting right here, icon picker. If we click in here, you'll see there's all these different icons that we can add to the beginning. It is a different color, but that's okay, we can fix that. So what we're going to do is there's a little search option here for your icons. We're going to type in lock. There's all these different lock options. I'm going to use this one right here. I'm going to go back to my regular settings here. Here it says icon color. For some reason it's black and showing up orange. That's weird, but I'm going to make it white. There we go. So just set that to white. And then it's kind of close to the words here. So I'm just going to double click on my text. I'm just going to add a space. There we go. So now it appears as locked. And what I want to do is simply just recreate this for all the other lessons in my product launch funnel. So remember that clone feature I showed you? We're going to use this here and it's going to save us a ton of time. So I'm going to clone this 3 times, 3, and then just drag these over to the other columns. Then I'm just going to click into these and we'll change this to lesson 2, lesson 3, and lesson 4. And we're going to do it again. We're going to clone this 3 times, drag these over. There we go. And we're going to clone this 3 times and drag these over. And now it's just a matter of updating these images, right? So I have some other little thumbnail images in my library. So you have one here. I'm just finding things with play buttons on them. So you have one here and we have one there. So there we go. That's going to be my 4 lessons. They're all currently locked. Now this is way bigger than this row, right? See the outlines of my row? If I wanted to make this smaller, I just go into the settings of the row, and then there's a setting here to control the width. So we can make that smaller if we wanted to. I'm not going to go quite that small, but I think ours is better than what was provided for us. So I'm simply going to delete this row. All right, now it's kind of spaced out from the top here. What I'm going to do is go into my settings of my row here. So we have some top padding. That's adding some space here. I'm going to move it up a little bit. There we go. I think that looks better. All right, then down here we have the actual sign up form. Divine asked, is there a way to add a lock icon over the image like the play button? Yes, but we don't have a tool for that. You'd have to use like Photoshop or Canva or some type of image editing software, and then you just upload that image into your image library. But yeah, you would need to use a photo editing software. The only thing we provide is this business tool that'll add a play button onto it. All right, so the sign up form, this is probably the most important technical piece here, is we need to collect their email address, create a lead inside of our ClickFunnels account, and send them to the next step in our funnel. So anytime we're trying to create a contact inside of our ClickFunnels account, the minimum amount of information you need to create a contact is email address. To collect an email address, we need 2 things. We need an input element, and we need a button set to a specific setting that's going to collect that email address. So you'll see, even in that ClickFunnels example, they only collected email address here. That's because we want to get as many leads as possible into this course, this little web class, learning these lessons from us, because we know we provide them value and we know they're going to love it. So we want to make this as easy as possible for someone to sign up. The easiest possible sign up form is simply just email address. If you need more information than that for some reason, you can add additional input elements to collect like name and address and as much information as you want it. But the harder you make it for someone to fill in this form, the less leads you're going to get. So we're going to make a simple one here where we're just going to collect email address just like this. Now the template I selected already has it on here for me. It's actually set up properly. It'll function. I could just leave this and it'd be fine. But I want to show you guys how to do it just in case you end up deleting it or it's not there. I want you guys to know how to build these. So first thing we're going to do is hit our orange plus sign, and we're going to select the input element. Add that onto the page. I'm going to move it above that little text right there. The settings of my input element, you can move it up a little bit here. You'll see by default it says your email address here, and then it says input type not set. So what we're going to do is go to input type, and this is where we control what piece of information this input field is going to collect. So say I wanted to collect like their first name, we would put first name. Notice how the placeholder text doesn't automatically update. So whenever you change the type of input, like the type of data you're collecting here, make sure you update your placeholder text accordingly. Because yes, in the editor, we see first name here, but all the visitor is going to see is your email address here. So make sure you update your placeholder text whenever you change the input type on the element. Our case though, we actually want to collect the email address, so we're just going to leave that. I'm going to make it say, enter your email address here. And there's a lot of cool things we can do, like design-wise, for our little input element here. So first off, email is always set to required, because that's needed to create the contact. Font family, we can change the font that's actually using. See, I can make it be a completely different font. Font size, we can change the size of the font. And if you go over to themes, there's different like preset design themes you can use. But if you go over to advanced, you can sort of make your own design. So quite a few, well, not too many here, but play around with these, see what they do. You can do things like changing the corners, might make the corners super rounded, right? Make it like a pill form. You can make them completely square if we want. You can change the background color. So obviously that one wouldn't look too good, right? And we can add little icons. If you go to icon, you still have like address icons, phone icons, name icons, and email icons. So depending on what piece of data you're collecting, there might be an icon that'll look really good with it. And you can change the style of the icon. So the white background, white doesn't look too good, but color might be okay. And you can even change the position of it. You can have it at the beginning. I like it on the right though. All right, so there's the little field where they can enter in their email address, and we have it set to collect their email address. But it actually won't work yet. We need a button, and we have to set that button to a very specific action. So all we do is hit our orange plus sign, select the button element. By default, it says click to sign up, warning, button action not set. We're gonna go, and then right here, edit action, there's a big green button that says set action. If we click on that, we can make our button do any of these things. The number one mistake I see people make on a sign up form like this is they'll set it to go to next step in funnel. See how it says this does not submit your form. If you click this, you will simply go to the next step of the funnel and no lead will be collected. They'll just get access to my intro lesson and then never get the rest of the lessons. So anytime you're collecting information off the page, you have forms like this for a sign-up form, even for an order form, you have to have a button on the page set to this setting at the top, which is submit order / submit form. This is going to submit all the information to my ClickFunnels account, create a contact with that information, and then automatically take them to the next step in my funnel. So one of the most common mistakes I see people make is setting it to something other than this. They either set it to go to next step in funnel or directly to the URL of the next step, which won't work. All right, so we come in here. Actually, from a technical standpoint, while this button will work, the number one thing I want people to do on this button or on this page is click this button, right? We want them to fill in this form and click this button. So I'm gonna make my button look a little nicer. Instead of just click to sign up, I'm gonna say, reserve my seat now. Steve's asking, where did I get the padlock icon? I went into the advanced setting of the text element and then I selected icon picker. Or actually, you're gonna see that same setting is in a button as well. We're gonna use it in a second. So I'm going to make my button say reserve my seat now. I'm going to add subtext. I'm going to say limited. And then let's see, we'll change the font family here. We'll change the font size, make it a bit bigger, make our subtext a bit bigger. We can change the background color here. Just going to make a nice orange button. And then if we go over to the advanced settings, you'll see there are quite a few settings under advanced. It says advanced, it's not really advanced. It's just like design settings really. So I encourage you to come in here, play around with these. I'm going to show you a few that I like. First off, I'm going to make the corner square instead of rounded, just to go with my field above it. And then down here at the bottom, we have icon picker, just like that text element had. But we also have icon picker after, which is going to add an icon to the end of the button. So with the first icon picker, I'm going to search for a little chair. There we go. And then the second icon picker, I'm going to add an arrow. So we're like, take me to the next thing, right? And then another setting I like here for my sign up forms is button effect. You click on this, just set my button to rocking. It's not kind of wobbles, brings lots of attention over to my button. So if we go to the settings here, I might add a little extra top margin here to move it down a little bit. But there we go. There is our functioning sign up form. My best advice for like the copying stuff is like, make people super curious. Have like headlines and stuff here that are going to make people curious, and have probably somewhere in here, I'd probably have like a sub headline below this. So like, fill in the form to unlock all these lessons. You have to tell people what to do. You don't tell people what to do, they won't always do what you want them to do. So you just do that with text elements. It's going to be a little bit different for all of you depending on what your offer is and what your lessons are all about, right? But main point is we want to make them super curious without giving away too much so that they're more likely to fill this in. Just having this creates tons of curiosity as well. We're sort of setting them on a journey to unlock all of this. All right, then down here we have a little logo. It's just an image element. So we've used this a few times now. Going to set to my, oh, I'm going to use the white text version of my logo. All right, so I see a few questions coming in. Divine said, can I apply this to a 3-day live presentation webinar? So if you're doing a live webinar, you would use a webinar funnel for that. But if you wanted to automate those live presentations after you're done the webinar, then you can do this. Kathy, your questions about bulletproof ads, the only training we have available currently for AdWords is inside of Ad Skills inside of Funnelflix, which I already showed. That is right here. That's the only training we currently have for AdWords that I can think of. There is additional training inside of Traffic Secrets as well. There might be some Ad Skills stuff, or sorry, not Ad Skills, AdWords stuff in here as well. Oh yeah, actually Google AdWords. So there's a whole section on it there as well. Those are the only two trainings we currently have available for setting up ads in Google AdWords that I can think of at least. All right, moving on. We can actually save ourselves a ton of time on the next step of our funnel. So again, sort of funnel hacking Russell's funnel here. His lesson page, he has the little lesson thumbnails at the bottom. I'm going to put mine across the top. So what we're going to do is, since I want to have these again, and I've already built it out once on this page, I don't want to have to rebuild this again, right? So what I'm going to do is go and get my blue highlight for my row here. I'm going to click on this little icon right here beside the trash can. It says save if I hover over it. I'm going to click on this. I'm just going to give this row that I'm saving a name. It's not saving this row per se, it's making a copy of this row. I'm saving, and I can add to any funnel page I want. So we're just going to call this the PLF row from 07/01/2020. and click Save Row. Now when I go into any other page of my funnel, when I click on, or any funnel actually, if I click on this blue plus sign and then go to My Rows, look, it's inside of here. If I click on this, it adds an exact duplicate of it into here. That's going to save us a ton of time on the next step of the funnel. So we don't have to rebuild that, so that's nice. We can even do that with sections as well. So I have this little footer section here. If I click on Save for Sections, we can then give this a name. We'll save that section. So then I'm just going to save my page. We're pretty much done here. Oh, actually, a couple things before we leave this page. We're going to go to Settings and SEO Metadata. We're going to update the SEO metadata on this page. So this title is what's showing up in my browser tab. So we're going to make this say Greg's free web class. And then we can add a description as well. The description, you'll see what's in there right now, is showing up in these two little samples at the bottom. These two little samples are, well, the first one is what it's going to look like if someone finds this page on Google search engine. And the second one is what it's going to look like if someone shares this page on Facebook. So this description shows up in both. So I'm going to update these. It's free web class. All right, see how it updated on both. And we can enter keywords here. These are keywords that people can use to find our page in a search engine. Comma separated, so funnels comma, that's one keyword. Funnel building, 2 words, but only counts as 1 keyword. Author, you can put like your own name or your company name here. You'll see that that shows up on the little Facebook sample preview. And then we can also set a social image. So if you've ever shared like a URL to a page on Facebook or social media, you may have noticed this before, that just like pulls through an image with that URL when you post it on like someone's Facebook wall or something, right? We can control what that image will be if someone shares the URL of this funnel. So we're going to click on this little image button. And we could use one of our own images that we've uploaded. I haven't shown you, I want to show you guys some of the other features here in the image library. You can also click on stock. There's some stock images in here, but honestly, they're not really my favorite stock images. I probably wouldn't use any of these. You have stock background images as well for setting backgrounds on like sections and your page and stuff. But right here, this is what I want to show you guys, the search option. There's 3 websites we can search from right inside of our image library that provide royalty-free images. So they're all free to use images. We can grab any of the images we find from these 3 platforms, and we don't have to worry about anyone owning the rights to them. So Pixabay and Unsplash are more for like stock images, and Icon Finder is more for like icon images. So let me just show you what I mean here. So you just put in like webinar here in Pixabay, we get all these results. You just double click on any of these images and it'll load it right into our image library that we can then use those images in our page. Icon Finder, they're more like icons. Unsplash usually gives me the best results, I find. So if you see an image you like, you can see this image, for example, if I double clicked on it, add it right into my image library. Then I just double click on it from here, and now I'm using that. Now guys, I know both these samples previous here, these are just sample previews. They're not true. I know it says yourwebsite.com/ would be here, or yourwebsite.com. Don't worry, in the real world, if someone actually finds your page on Facebook, or if someone shares your URL on Facebook, it will say your actual domain of your funnel, not yourwebsite.com. There we go. We are all set. One last thing, actually. If we go to settings and then general, here it says search engines. We're going to make sure this is set to show for our sign-up form. Every step after this, we're going to set this to hide. We'll come back to that in a moment, though. I'll explain that on the next step of the funnel. So we're going to click on save. We're going to exit, and then we're going to start making our first lesson page. This is my intro lesson page. I'm going to load this up in the editor. Now, this layout that they gave me in the template I selected has all the thumbnails running down the right, and then has the lesson content on the left. I already told you guys I wanted to have mine going across the top, and then I'm going to put all my lesson content below it. So I actually need to change the layout of this page a little bit. I don't have to, like, this is a great template. I could certainly use it this way, but it's just not the way I like to set up my product launch funnels. So this is a great example of how any of these templates that you select are 100% customizable. So we can completely change the layout of this page. Since I saved that row and that section from my last funnel step too, we can change the layout of this page like super quickly. Now, one thing that I know just from using this template a lot is there's something weird going on here. See how my row and then my section are basically like the same? There's usually a little bit of space between the two. That's not normal. So what's happening there is whoever made this template actually added a little bit of custom CSS to this page. That's changing the look of this page a little bit. Basically, it's making it zoom in a little bit so that there's no space there. If you ever want to see if someone added custom code to your page, go to settings and then custom CSS, and you'll see it in here. So this is just making things zoom in. I'm just going to delete this. And then now my page looks a little more normal, right? It's more what you would expect from a ClickFunnels page. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to hit my blue plus sign anywhere on the page. So I'm going to hit my blue plus sign here. And then I'm going to go back to my rows. And then the row I saved on the last page is right here. Now, added it to the top in this yellow piece here. I don't want it there. I'm going to move this whole row down. If I hit the down arrow here on the top left of my row, move it down into the next section. Now it's kind of close to the top there. I'm going to go into the settings of my row. I'm going to add a little top padding. But basically what I want is I want these thumbnail teasers at the top, and then I want just this left-hand column here. So what I'm going to do is below this row is add a 1 column row. And then I'm just going to drag everything from this left side up to the top, everything that I want to keep. So I'm going to drag my text, my video, this headline, little divider, all these bullet point text elements. That's everything I want to keep. So everything's kind of, there's just a little bit of spacing adjustment I'm probably going to make here, but that's basically what I want. So I'm going to just delete this whole row right here. Get rid of that. I'm going to delete this section here. I'm not going to use that. Then remember I saved my footer section on the last page as well. So I'm just going to hit my green plus sign, go to my sections, and there it is saved to the top. Boom, and get rid of this old one. There we go. My layout is completely changed. I'm going to adjust some spacing here. So again, a lot of like your elements or your rows will have top margin. You can remove some of that to move things up if we want. I just like everything to be a little more compact. Some here as well. Go. And we'll move this up a little bit too. That's pretty good. So just like that, very quickly, we were able to completely like redesign the layout of this page. Actually, I'm going to add like 5 more pixels. There we go. So it's that easy to rearrange things on your page. And that's the layout I want. The only thing we haven't really looked at on here is the video element. So I want to dive into video elements a little bit with you guys. So to add a video onto our page, add an element. We just select the video element. Now, obviously mine is way bigger than the one that was already on there. So let's go into the settings for a second. I'm going to go into settings here. And if we go over to advanced, we'll come back to the general settings here. If we go over to advanced, we can control the width of the video player. So we can set it to full width, 3/4 width, which is what they had set, or half width. So the width is based on the width of the row that it's inside of. So full width would go to like the sides of this row. Then see how this one has a white border around it? Just go into the settings and go to themes. Themes for video elements are essentially just borders. They have a white border on it. All right. Now for the actual video itself, we can't upload video into ClickFunnels because the file size is just too large. but you can upload anywhere on the internet that allows you to host videos. So there's lots of great examples. We're going to look at a few in just a moment. But no matter where you upload your video to, almost everywhere these days will give you something called a custom embed code. So that's the first option you get when you go into the settings of a video element. The video type will be set to custom embed. The custom embed code you usually find in the settings of your video after you upload it, or the sharing settings. And you just take that code that they provide you, paste it in here. As long as they've given you good code, it should pull through onto the live page. But if you're like me, you probably don't want to deal with custom code, right? Anyone else not like to deal with custom code? So what I recommend is sticking to one of these other options under video type. You can switch this to, I would stick with YouTube, Vimeo, or Wistia. With these three options, all you have to do is paste in the URL of the video after you've uploaded it to that platform, and it'll pull through live on the page. Right? Now, YouTube is a very popular option. It is the best free option. If we go into the settings of this video that was already on here, you'll see it's already set to a YouTube URL. If we visit this page right now, I'm going to show you why YouTube is not my favorite option. So here we have a YouTube video embedded on the page. So you can click play and watch the lesson.
Congratulations.
Right? 2 reasons why I don't like using this. Now, obviously, big pro in it being free. That's a huge plus. But I can always click on the title here.
Congratulations, you are.
Now I'm watching it in YouTube. Now I'm in an incognito browser, but if I were signed in, this would be all videos that I'm super interested in. Their algorithm's too good, right? We want people to be focused on these lessons, getting as much value out of them as possible, because that's what's going to build that relationship between us and them. If they start watching it on YouTube and get distracted by something else, then it's game over. I've lost. Like, how many times have you been watching a video on YouTube and see like a funny cat video or a podcast you're interested in? Or maybe that's just me. You guys now know what I look at on YouTube, but you don't even make it through the video, right? And you start watching something else. Or, I hate to admit this as well, but I'll always be watching a video, and before I know it, I'm reading the comments, and I have to like go back in time because I wasn't listening to what they're saying because I was reading. I can't read and listen at the same time. So that's one of the reasons. The other thing is, now when you pause a video that's embedded, now pulls up the suggested videos right here on the video player as well. Didn't used to do that. So not a big fan of it, but if all you have in your budget right now is something that's free, is the best option, right? So it's sort of a trade-off. They allow you to upload videos for free, but they try to get the people onto their platform. If they start consuming ads on their platform, that's how they make money, right? I get it, but what I recommend doing is, once you get your business to the point where you can afford an extra $20 a month, I would highly recommend upgrading to Vimeo. So Vimeo does have a free plan, but on their free plan, you're actually not allowed to embed videos for commercial purposes. They even have a plus plan, which you're also not allowed to do that. But if you go to their pro plan, which will cost $20 a month, my opinion is very much worth it. This is actually what we use for all the videos you see inside of Funnelflix. What's really cool once you're on the pro plan is, not only can you embed the video and there's nothing anyone can click on that'll take them off the page, you can also set some really cool privacy settings that kind of lock your video down. So let me show you how that works. In the privacy settings of this video I uploaded, under who can watch, I've set it to hide this video from Vimeo. And then I can also say, where can it be embedded? And I've said this video can only be embedded on virtualhackathons.com or gregorycf.com. If it gets embedded anywhere else, it won't work. And that's important, because if someone's a little bit sneaky, they can inspect the code in your funnel, find this URL right here, and then they visit that URL. They could do whatever they want, right? But I have it set to hide from Vimeo so they can't see it. You can even take it and try to embed it on one of their own pages. So let's test that out. I'm going to copy the URL of my video here. I'm going to set my video element to Vimeo. And I'm just going to paste that URL right into here. Just use Control V on my keyboard to paste it in. Just make sure there's no spaces at the beginning or the end. But now when I visit this page, it should load the video, right? Now you guys may not know this, but when you use the preview window right here, when you click on preview, it actually loads your page on app.clickfunnels.com, which I did not give permission, so that's why we see this. But check this out. If we go back, exit the editor, from here, I can load it on my domain, gregorycf.com, which I did give permission. Remember, I set that in the settings. So if we visit this page, now the video's there. I can click, I can play on it. It looks nice, it's clean. There's nothing I can click on here that'll take me off the page. So I can completely control the environment in which they are consuming my content. It's just gonna make it that much more likely for them to actually connect with me and resonate with me and build that trust and relationship with me. Whereas if they went to YouTube, it's pretty much game over. So we find that using something like this always increases our sales conversions. But if you don't have that in your budget yet, start with YouTube. It works, right? Works great. Just once you get your business to that point where it makes sense for you, I would highly recommend upgrading. All right, so that's my favorite option. Now, our page is basically done. Actually, let's go back into the editor for a second. We're going to set our SEO metadata before we move on here. So we're going to go to settings and SEO metadata. Now on this page, I'm just going to update the title. I'm just going to say Greg's web class lesson. That's all. I'm going to make it something sort of general. In the description, I'm going to get rid of author, I'm going to get rid of all of that. And that's because we're actually going to hide this page from search engines. So I'm going to go to settings and general, where it says search engine show. I'm going to set this to hide. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I only want people to see these lessons. They give me their email first on my sign up page. If I leave this set to show, they could just like search my domain on Google, find all the pages on my domain, get access to this. So they could basically funnel hack me for free. If they want to funnel hack me, they got to give me their info. So that's why I'm doing that. All my lessons are now going to be set to hide. Okay, so let's save this. That's all we have to do. And we're going to use this as the template for all of our preceding lessons. And we're going to set up so that when they go to each lesson, these show as unlocked and available. Since we have the design nailed down on this intro lesson, it makes it so much easier. All we're going to do is on this intro lesson, with it selected, the step selected, we're going to click right here on clone funnel step at the bottom right. If you click on this, it's going to create an exact duplicate of that funnel step. So I don't have to redesign anything. Now it does add it into this other funnel steps dropdown. So all I need to do is click here on add to funnel, and it'll add it into my step sequence here. Now I have 2 pages named intro lesson. So what I'll do is go into this settings gear right here beside my URL. I'm going to change this to lesson 1. Update my funnel step, and there we go. But we do need to make a few changes inside of the editor. So we're going to load this up in the editor. And what I'm going to do is, well, let's start with at the top here. We have, this is the page where they're actually going to be viewing lesson 1. So I don't want this to be grayed out, right? Or say locked. It's going to be now available. So I'm going to go into the settings of the image, go back over to the advanced settings. We're going to switch this from strong fade to fully visible, grayscale effects to full color. And then instead of locked here, we're just going to click in here and type in now available or now plain, whatever you want it to say. We still have a locked icon though. So we're going to go back into the settings of the text element, go over to advanced, and then where it says icon picker, we're going to switch this. We're going to type in lock, and there's a couple different unlocked ones. I'm going to use this one right here. Now it did make it a little too big. So what I'm going to do is go into my settings here and just make the font size like one size smaller. There we go. It fits on one line. Then all we would do is like update our copywriting on the page, right? So this would now be probably like lesson 1. And then down here, we'd probably have like title of lesson, whatever the lesson title is. And then all we'd have to do is go into the settings of our video and swap this out for the URL of our first lesson video. So we would upload that into Vimeo or YouTube or wherever, grab the URL and paste it into here. I'm just gonna leave it on that same video as an example. But everything else done for me. I'd have to update the copy down here to make sure it pertains to this, right? And just hit save. And we're all set. So basically just have to repeat that for lessons 2, 3, and 4. And then 4, we have to do something a little bit special. But we're going to do this a bunch of times in a row, so I'm going to do these a little bit faster for you guys. So lesson 1, I'm going to click the clone funnel step button. I'm going to click add to funnel. I'm going to rename my funnel step here. Renaming the funnel step doesn't really do anything on the customer side of things. It's just doing it for me. Only I will see these step names. It's not a big deal if you actually don't do that. And then we're going to load up the page in the editor. We're going to change our image here. That's grayed out. We're going to make it full color in the advanced settings here. So switch our opacity to fully visible, color to full color. And then I could update this to say now available, right? But let's use that clone feature. We're just going to clone the other one, drag it over, and delete the locked one. Boom, there we go. Let me update this, update the title. And just to have a different video here, I'll switch it to that YouTube video, but we'd update our video URL in here. And we'll hit save. And we'll hit exit. And we just got to do this a few more times. So clone funnel step. Add to funnel. Make this lesson 3. And edit page. Go, sorry. In here, we're going to update lesson 3 image. Go to the advanced settings of the image, switch the opacity to fully visible, full color. Clone our now available text, drag it over, delete the locked text. Switch this to lesson 3, update our lesson title, and then we would update our video. So we just swap out the video URL in your case, right? So click in here, it's all set, we'll click on save, and then we'll exit. And we got to do it one last time, but we're going to do something special on lesson 4. Lesson 4 is like our special offer in this case. So I'm going to clone this funnel step, add it to the funnel, make this lesson 4, update the funnel step, load up the editor, and on this one, let's make this now available. We'll do our regular routine here. Opacity, fully visible, grayscale, full color, clone our now available text, move it over, get rid of the lock text. Just a lesson 4. Put our title. I'll leave it at that. Here it'd probably be like Greg's special offer. This is the video where I go through my offer, explain it to all of them, get them all excited to buy it, and tell them basically like click the button below this video and you can purchase my special offer. So what we're going to do is add a button below this video. We're going to go into the settings of this button. Instead of it just saying like click to sign up, we're going to say like, yes, I want special offer. Might say like to purchase now. Right? We can adjust the font sizes and all that fun stuff. I like a nice orange button. Go to advanced here. We can add little icons. Let's add a little. For buy buttons, I usually just search cart in here. There's a few different cart examples. I like to do that. And icon picker after, we'll do an arrow again. No, not that. Same idea as like the button we set up before, but this button, we're going to be sending them to a specific URL. So under edit action, we click on set action. We're going to set it to go to website URL. You'd send them to the URL of your order form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this open. I'm going to go into another tab here, and there's my webinar funnel from yesterday. Actually, conveniently have my list of funnels open here. I'm going to load up my webinar funnel from yesterday. I'm just going to go right to that order form step. This could be the next step in your funnel if you build another order form in your funnel. And we're just going to copy the URL of the order form step. And then in the editor, in this field under go to website URL, I'm going to erase that little hashtag. I'm going to use Control V to paste this URL into here. If it worked, it should show the URL down here. I always double check to make sure I have no spaces at the beginning or the end of the URL. And I always set this to open in a new window /tab. So now what'll happen is when people get to my special offer, they'll be watching the video. Somewhere in there, I'm going to say, hey, get the offer now. They'll click on this button. It'll take them to that order form where they can buy my offer for $597. So there we go. That is all set. That's actually our whole funnel. We are done the front end funnel. So we should be all set. All right, just taking a look. I don't see any new questions in the chat. Dominic was asking about training for Facebook ads. All the ad training is in the traffic section inside of Funnelflix, so make sure you check those out. Christoph asked, how do I organize my funnels? So you just set whichever group tag you want them to be listed under inside of your funnel settings, Christoph. So right here, it's a new folder. So if I went back to my list of funnels here, give it a sec. The funnel I'm working on right now is listed under new folder. I could change it to the name of any of these other folders and it would move it into that folder. If I wanted to create a brand new folder, my group tag, I would just make it a different title and it would create a brand new folder with whatever I type in here and it'd be the only funnel in there. So they're all managed from the funnel settings. All right, let's see. David asked, how do I add multiple affiliate badges? We'll come back to that one at the end. And Deb has some issues with her image. We'll come back to that one at the end as well. What I want to do, guys, is start working on our back end funnel. So remember, we wanted to say anyone who filled in our opt-in page, we're going to add them to a registration list. Oh, I do see Chris asking about recordings. Chris, we show you where to access the recordings once we're done building the funnel. So just stick with us a little bit longer and you'll see where to get access to those recordings. All right, so we want to say anyone who fills in our opt-in page here, we're going to add them to, we'll just call it a registration list. So what we're going to do is go up to follow-up funnels up here and then click on email list. We're going to create our registration list. So if we go to follow-up funnels and email lists, this will take us to this section here. I call it the list of lists. And just like my list of funnels, we can also create group tags. So these are all group tags. We click on them and they expand and contract. So what we're going to do is in here, we're going to build a new group tag or folder, as I like to call it. And we're going to add our registration list for this funnel inside of that group tag. So all we need to do is click on the top right here on add new list. And under name, we're going to give our list a name. I'm going to show you my naming convention that I use. You don't have to follow the same one as me. You can name it anything you want. But I think if you do it this way, it'll keep things organized for you. So first thing I'm going to do is put in the name of my funnel. So mine was VLF or Virtual Hackathon PLF funnel from 07/01/2020. Then I put a dash and then I put whatever I want to call this list. So we're just going to call this the registration list. And then this group tag is what's going to make that little folder in my big list of lists. So I like to make that the name of my funnel. So I'm just going to paste the name of my funnel into here and click on add. I know all the lists in that little folder, my big list of email lists, belong to that funnel. So kind of like helps me track like where leads are coming from and stuff. Then we get an option here to make this a smart list, which I know sounds like it would probably make sense, right? Why wouldn't I want my list to be smart? Probably a lot of you are thinking that, right? But we actually want to create what's called a static list. So a static list is the type of list that we can connect to our signup form. If we made this a smart list, we actually wouldn't be able to connect it to our signup form. Smart lists can be a really powerful option. I use them more for like list segmentation after I have contacts in my account. So the way it would work, if we toggled this on, we would actually, the next step would ask us to set some rules. We could set rules like add everyone to this list that lives in Canada. And then it would scan all the contacts in my account, find everyone who lives in Canada and add them all to that list for me. So it can be really powerful, but when we do that, we can't connect it to our signup form. So it wouldn't make sense. So we just have to make a static list. All we have to do is not touch this toggle. So we're gonna click here on create new list, and then our list is created. Now there's no one in here yet, so it's a little bit boring. But once we connect this to our signup form and people start filling it in, they'll start showing up in here. You can always come in here and download our contacts, take those leads with us anywhere we want. Also, we wouldn't do this in this use case, but if you were ever trying to upload contacts from another platform, what you would do is use this import contacts button. It would allow you to upload like a spreadsheet of all of your contacts right into your ClickFunnels account. Also come up here to edit list settings. We can change any of like the name or the folder we just set up. And at the top here, we can start creating the follow-up funnel for this list as well, which we're going to do in just a second. But I want to come back here for a second. I'm going to show you the email list. If we go back to email list, we will now see the folder we just created with our list inside of it. It can be expanded or contracted. So right now, so let's take a look at our little framework here for a second again. Right, here's my great artist skills here for you. Right now we have this piece and this piece, right? Actually, I made a little list for myself. We created the pages and we created the list. So this exists, but they're not really talking to each other. I think of my list as like the middleman between my front end funnel and my follow-up funnel, which is like the back end funnel, right? So this list is what's going to make the two kind of play with each other. So we need to connect this list to our sign up form. So let's go into our funnel for a second. Actually, I have another tab open here. Let's load up our funnel right here. What we're going to do is right on this sign up form page, and click on edit page, load up the editor. I'm going to go to settings and integrations. So settings, integrations, the first option in there. Then under integration, I'm going to hit this drop down and select ClickFunnels internal. Then under action, I'm going to select add to list. And then under list to add, we're going to select our brand new registration list. This is why I like to include the name of the funnel. You'll see I have other registration lists in here. So it helps me differentiate which one it is. But since it's my most recently added list, it'll always be at the very bottom. So I'm going to select that. Now, if you hit that drop down, you scroll down and you didn't see your list there, what you'll do is just close the drop down, click this button that says refresh list from API, hit that drop down again, and then your list should show up. So we'll select that. Once it says connected here, we just click out of here, click save in the top right, and we are all set. Anytime someone fills in this form, they will also get added to our registration list. Now what we want to do is say, hey, anyone who makes it onto this registration list, we're going to send them an email with access to the first lesson one day after they signed up. So to do that, we need to create what's called a follow-up funnel. So a couple of ways we can get to follow-up funnels. We can go to follow-up funnels and then follow-up funnels. If we're already in one of these sections, it'll be over on the left here as well. And your follow-up funnels is the back-end funnel. It's really just a series of automations. I'm going to say all the things that'll happen to someone after they end up on our registration list. So if we go to the follow-up funnel section here, there's a big list of all the follow-up funnels that you currently have in your account. And just like our list of lists or our list of funnels, we can add little group tags to organize them. So we could do it from right here, and it would take us to this screen, and we'd have to find our list in this dropdown and connect it. What I actually like to do is do it right from the list itself. If we go back to our registration list, remember we had that option there? So if we load up our registration list here, we can create the follow-up funnel right from here. It just takes us to the same screen, but it has the list connected. But it also just helps me with sort of comprehending like the flow of how everything's working, right? They fill in the sign-up form to get on the list. The list gets them onto the follow-up funnel sequence. So we're just going to give our follow-up funnel a name here. Call mine the registration list follow-up funnel. Again, just my naming convention. You can name it anything you want. And then I always like to make the group tags just the name of my funnel. That way I know all these automation sequences are being used for lists from that funnel. And then we have an option here to send to all existing contacts on list, or only send to new contacts being added to the list. But for what we're setting up right now, doesn't really matter, right? We don't have any contacts on our list yet. So it doesn't matter one way or the other. But if you selected a list here to go through the follow-up funnel that already had contacts on it, well, then you might want to take that into consideration, right? It just depends on what you want to happen to the people on the list. So it's up to you. For us, what we're setting up right now, it doesn't really matter. We'll just create this follow-up funnel. Just like that, we have our follow-up funnel. So this is where we're going to build out the back-end funnel, our series of automations. You say, what's going to happen to everyone after they end up on our registration list? So you see, we add what I call automation steps here, and they'll show up on the left, sort of like how we had our funnel steps being built out. But each automation step that we add a delay to when that automation triggers. That delay is based from when they got added to the list that got them into here. So if you actually click on the title of the follow-up funnel up here, I call this the overview tab. From here, once we have some steps added in, they'll all be listed here and give us like stats on them and stuff. But I like to look at it from here because it tells us all the lists currently connected to the follow-up funnel. We only see the registration list here. We know right now the only way someone can get onto that registration list is by filling in our sign-up form on our product launch funnel. So the delays we set on our automation steps here are based on when they got added to any of the lists we see here. So we can think of our delay as a delay from when they filled in the sign-up form, since that's the only way they can get onto a list in this follow-up funnel right now. You could technically go into your follow-up funnel settings and connect more than one list to your follow-up funnel. Try not to do that. I usually only do that like when I need to. I try not to do it too often. Try to keep things as simple as possible. But let's go ahead. We're going to add our first automation. We're going to automate our lesson 1 email. So if we click on new step here, you'll see we can actually automate more than just emails. Anytime you're automating an email in a follow-up funnel, use this built-in email messenger app. This is what's going to allow us to design the email, schedule the email, and choose which of our SMTPs will handle the delivery of that email. But we could automate other things as well. So we have all these built-in ClickFunnels internal actions. So we could do things like adding them to other lists. So I could say like, I don't know, we could do as little as like, I don't know, example, 5 hours after they filled in the sign-up form, let's also add them to this other list inside of my account. We can actually do right away. As soon as they fill in the sign-up form, add them to this additional list as well. We could do that. We could do like 900 days later if we wanted to add them to another list. You could remove from lists, send email notifications. Now this email notification automation is a little bit different. What this would do is actually send yourself a notification of like a new lead in your account. So whenever I use this one, I usually have it set to 0 delay because I want to know as soon as I get that lead, right? We could add tags to their profiles and unsubscribe to contact as well. We can even trigger third-party integrations. So there's all kinds of different integrations you can connect to your ClickFunnels account. I could technically say here, like I have this Zoom webinar integration. I could technically say, I don't know, 10 days after they filled in my sign-up form, also register them for this webinar session inside of my Zoom webinar account. Probably wouldn't ever do that, but technically with a follow-up funnel, we could do that. So you can do some really fancy, cool things with third-party automations as well. If you hover over any of these, it'll tell you in the blue text in the right here, like what actions can be automated from them. So We're going to use our own built-in email creator. So we're going to type in the name of the automation step. So we're just going to call this like the lesson 1 email. And we're going to select email messenger. And it just sort of walks me through all the settings I could possibly use for setting up this email. So first up, it asks me what I want to use as my send email. So it's just asking me which SMTP I want to use to handle the delivery. It's going to ask me what I want my from name to be. Like your own name, your company name, whatever makes sense for your business. And then we always have this at the bottom. We can add something called filter rules. So we could set little rules on here based on all these different criteria and say, only send this email to people that meet these rules. Could technically set that up. Now there's always going to be this one rule on here by default when you create a new automation step, and it says last engaged days ago is less than 31. So you'll always see this in here. And what that means is this email would only send to people that have engaged with us within the last 31 days. So in ClickFunnels, an engagement is anytime they fill in one of your sign-up forms, anytime they purchase something from you, anytime they open an email from you, or anytime they click on the link of an email from you. Those will all count as engagements. So if we think about what we're actually setting up right now, everyone's going to meet this rule because they're filling in our sign-up form to get into the list to hit this step. So that's the engagement. And we're going to trigger this to happen 24 hours after they filled in the form, right? So 24 hours after the engagement, which is well within 31 days. So there's no one on the list yet. Anyone that can get onto the list will meet this rule. So everyone's going to pass this rule and get the email. This is on here mostly as a safety net for if you were using a list in your follow-up funnel that had really old contacts on it. If you have really old contacts that haven't engaged with you in a really long time, you might not want to email those people because they're really likely to mark you as spam if they've forgotten who you are. So it's just trying to help like prevent you from being marked as spam. With that being said though, you can always click on the rule right here and you can make this however many days you want. You can make it an insane amount of days and everyone will meet the rule. You can also, if you're really confident everyone on your list wants to be receiving your emails, you can even delete it right off here. In this case, I usually just leave it because everyone's going to meet the rule. It's not hurting anything. But in this case, everyone that gets onto this list is actually signing up to receive these emails. So I'm pretty confident they want them. So it doesn't matter that I deleted it. I'm just going to click on next here. And this is the part where we actually start designing the email. So we can put whatever we want the subject line to be. So I'm gonna have something like lesson 1 starts right now. And then we can enter what's called a pre-header. So a pre-header is everything they see after the subject line in their inbox. You might not have even realized you can control that. If I don't put anything in here, it's just gonna pull the first line of whatever I make my email say. So it gives us great advice here. Invoke curiosity. Put something in here. It's going to make them curious and want to open the email. But like find out how to get started on your first lesson. Then down here, this is where you can find all the pre-made templates for your emails inside of ClickFunnels. So these are like system generated templates that we've made available for you guys. So if you hover over any of these and click on preview, you get a little preview of what that email will look as a starting point. So hover over them, see what they look like. I'm just going to select this first one here as an example. Once you select the template, you can then click here on edit email. And then we can start editing the email. So this loads up the email editor. It's really just a more basic version of the page editor. With an email, you can't really do as much as you can a web page, so it's a little more simplified, but still has a lot of aspects you'll find familiar from the regular page editor. If you click on your orange plus sign that you're used to, you'll see all the different things you can add to an email. There's just 8 things you can add on to an email. So it's not that hard to actually become a pro at using this. There's just not as much to learn. So what I recommend doing is for your first time building an email, add one of everything onto the email, play around with all the different settings and all the different elements. And you don't have to keep anything on there. You can delete everything off it. For the hackathon here, we'll focus on a few. The top of this email, I have an image element. If I go into the settings of an image element, we have image URL and then a button here that says select image. If I click on select image, I get the same image library from the page editor. So I can find my logo in here. We can use that. Now we see it on the page. Now you'll also see these blue lines running across the top. These are our rows, just like how in the page editor we have the blue outlines for rows. Same thing in the email editor. There's no sections though, there's no green outlines. The whole email is just one section. Now one thing that threw me off, if this was the page editor, we'd have a little blue plus sign here, right? We could click on to add a new row. We don't have that in the email editor. So what you want to do is if you say I wanted to add a row in between these two rows, just find the last element in the row, click on the orange plus sign, and then select row, and ask me how many columns I want that row to be, and then adds in. Then I can add my elements to those rows, or those columns to the row, I should say. Now, if you ever wanted to delete an entire row, every row has its own settings. We go to the settings here, we can delete a row. In those settings as well, you can do things like adjust background colors, add borders, and style the row a little bit as well. So like if I wanted to have a background color up here, we can do that. Now in the message of the email here, this template has an image at the top. I'm going to delete that. We'll start with just this headline. So just like the regular page editor, when I highlight an element, we get that orange outline, and we can go into the settings, we can clone things, and we can delete things. Here's a text element. Same idea as a text element in the page editor. If we go into the settings here are pretty basic. You have margin, text color, body font, text size, all pretty straightforward, right? But if I want to change what this says, I just like the page editor, click into here, and I can just edit whatever it says. So we'll say, lesson 1 starts right now. At the top here, we have some of our text options as well in this blue toolbar. So down here, I have another text element. This font size is just a bit smaller. We type out our message in here. Be like, so guys, take the time to actually write good copy. There's lots of copywriting training inside of Funnelflix. Make sure you learn some strategies behind that. Make sure you take the time to have a great message in here. Having great copy is going to be the difference of people taking the action you want them to take, which in this case is going to be clicking the button in the email to go to the first lesson or not doing it. So don't do what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of just winging it here. Actually, we'll just leave some of this gibberish in here even. Eventually in my email message here, I'd have something that says like, click the button below to start lesson number 1, right? Something like that, right? Then I have a button below here. Now the button's already on here, but let's delete it. To add a button, I just hit the orange plus sign, select the button element, and then we can start editing it in the settings. So click on the settings gear. We can make the button be any color we want. Actually, first of all, the button's really close to the text above it, so I'm going to add like a little margin. It just creates a little space there. Same as in the page editor. Change the color here. We can use hex codes in here too if you wanted to. And we're going to change what this button says. So I'm going to make my button say, click here to start lesson number 1. And Diana just asked if we can access OneDrive through our image library. I don't believe so, Diana. You'd have to get, if you had like some images in your OneDrive, you just have to get them onto your actual computer so that you can upload them into your image library. So you have to transfer those over, even if just momentarily, onto your actual computer so that you can then upload them into your image library. All right, so next up we have the button link URL. There's a little hashtag in here. This is where we want to put the URL of our first lesson. So I have another tab here with my funnel open. I'm going to go to my lesson 1 page here. I'm just going to copy this URL right here. Copy that. And I'm going to paste this into this field. There's a little hashtag in there. I'm going to make sure I erase that. Erase anything inside this field. Get it out of there. If you're on a PC, use Control-V. If you're on a Mac, use Command-V to paste your image URL right into here. And I always double check to make sure there's no spaces at the beginning or the end of the URL. And then you can do like sizes and stuff down here. We'll make it a little bit bigger. There we go. There's a button. If they click on this, they should go to our lesson 1 page. There's 2 other ways we can link them out of this email to the page we want them to go to. You don't have to use all 3, but I'm going to show you all 3 depending on what you want to design. So you have different options. So the next way is you can create something called a hyperlink. This is a button link. We can create a hyperlink, which is basically just clickable text. So let's add a text element below this. And we'll click in here. We'll say, I don't know, click here to get started. Something like that, right? I'm going to hit my center icon up here to center it. And then I just need to highlight the text that I want to turn into a clickable link. In this case, I'm going to highlight all the text and click on this little icon here at the top. It's right beside this negative sign. It looks like a piece of chain link. If I click on that, it opens up this little field at the top. Where I'm going to erase everything in that field, get it out of there. Use Control-V or Command-V to paste my URL right into there. That's all I need to do. They can click here or they can click here. It should take them to the page. The third way that we can link them off our email to the page we want them to go to is from the settings of an image. So like here's another image element. Actually, let's delete it and add our own. To add an image element, hit your orange plus sign, select the image element. This is just the placeholder image. Go into the settings. Again, we can use our little image library. Remember we made that image earlier with the play button on it? This is a great image to use in our email as well. So we can't upload videos right into an email, but if you're sending someone to a page where they're going to watch a video, this is a great option. If you have an image with a play button on it, you're going to increase your click rates like crazy. People always click on play buttons. They've just been trained to do it for so long. Especially if I'm sending them a page to watch this specific video, I'm going to put this little thumbnail image on here. What I can do is go into the settings of this image element, and right here under link URL, I can paste in the URL of my page right there. And I always make sure there's no spaces, beginning or end, because I can control where they go when they click this image. Now, if they click that image, they should go to the page I want them to go to. All right, let's look at this email. At the bottom, I have another button here. I'm going to clone this button that's already up here and drag it down, just like the page editor. We can clone stuff. Get rid of that. Then it also says Russell Brunson on here. I'm going to get rid of that. Put in Gregory Dacus. And guys, the last few times I've had people asking me about unsubscribe links. Do I have to set that up in the email? As long as I have my SMTP set up properly, which again, you can learn how to do in the virtual hackathon membership area, right here under SMTP. As long as I have this set up properly, my unsubscribe link will automatically be applied to every single email I send out using this SMTP. So I don't have to set it up in the individual email. It just automatically gets tacked onto the bottom from what I set up in my SMTP settings. So it automatically gets added to the bottom. We don't have to worry about it. So we're going to hit the save button here. We're going to click on preview. Now we have a little preview of what this email is going to look like. And we can test out these links to make sure we go to the right page, which is taking us to lesson 1, which is now available. It's working, but test out all the options you have on your page to make sure they're working properly. And the image, there we go. So it's all working. We'll click on save and close. And now what we can do is click right here on save email as template. It's going to save a template to my account of the email that I just created. We're going to use that for the starting point for our lesson 2 email. That's going to make this process way faster. So what we're going to do next is just scroll down at the bottom, click on next. And now we schedule that delay I was talking about. So this is where you set the delay on when this automation is going to trigger. So if we wanted this email to go right away, we just leave it set to 0 hours. If we wanted this email to go out 5 days from now, we'd set it to 5 days. And send out 500 hours from now, set 500. We want this to go out 1 day from after they sign up. So we'd set it to either 24 hours or 1 day, and we're all set. Now we also get the option to add something called a send window. Not a big fan of this, but I'll explain it for you guys just in case you're wondering what it is. Basically what we can do here is set like an allowed sending time frame. Then what would happen is what I've set up right here. Let's say, for example, someone signed up at 8 p.m. tonight. We set a 1 day delay on this automation step. So 24 hours would go by, it'd be 8 p.m. tomorrow. We'd hit the automation step, but then the system would recognize, oh, it's outside of the allowed sending window, and it would wait until 7 a.m. the day after that to send out the email. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for what we're setting up right now, but it can make sense in some use cases. But I'm not a big fan of it, and clearly it just prolongs how long it takes them to get my lesson, so I'm going to click remove lesson. Or remove window, sorry. Then I'm going to click here on review for sending, and I just get a little summary here of everything that I just set up. I can also, on the right here, you'll see there's a little preview of the email. You can send a test email to any email address you want. It'll send it using your SMTP. So if you've never used your SMTP before, highly recommend doing this. Send it to yourself and then check in your inbox to make sure that all your URLs come through. So let's see here. Should get that in a second. There it is. So there's my email. From here, I just want to test these links to make sure they still function. So there we go. We'll move that aside. All right. So this, I'm happy with everything here. I'm just going to click on make live and then make live. And we're all set. Once people start getting this email in my action step here, my automation step, we'll get all these stats. So it's going to tell us how many people this email was sent to, how many people opened the email, how many people clicked the link in the email, how many people unsubscribed from the email, how many sales we got as a result of this email. We scroll up. You can also click on sent list. You'll see each individual person that was sent to in here and what actions they took on the email. There's also a preview button here. And if we scroll down, we'll see the preview of the email we just created. You could save it as a template from here if you forgot. You can even make changes to it from here as well. Just keep in mind, if you make changes to the email, anyone that's already been sent to, they won't get an updated version. But anyone that hasn't been sent to yet, they will get the updated version. So basically the way this is working right now is they fill in the sign-up form, which adds them to the list. The list is connected to this follow-up funnel. So 1 day after they get added to this list, they get the first email. So we just have to recreate this for all of our lessons. We'll do one more. It's really just the same thing over and over again. So we'll do one more, do this real quickly, and then we'll jump into our Q&A. So I'm going to add one more step here. We're going to call this one the lesson 2 email. Select email messenger. Choose which SMTP, put our from name. We already did this part before, right? Everyone's going to meet that rule. I'm not worried about it. Click on next. And then we design our lesson 2 email. So this one's going to be like lesson 2 starts now. And then instead of selecting one of these system templates, remember I saved my last email as a template. So what I would do is click here on user, and it loads up all the templates I've saved in my account. I have quite a few from doing so many hackathons, but your most recent one will be at the bottom. You can even click on the preview button to see what it's going to look like. So we'll select that. And now I have an exact copy of my last email to use as a starting point. So we'll edit the email here. And now it's just a matter of updating all my copy to be about the second lesson in my product launch funnel, right? So my button here, instead of click to start lesson 1, it'd be click to start lesson 2. Then I need a different button link URL. So let's erase that out of there. We're going to go into my other tab with my funnel open, go to lesson 2. And I'm going to copy this URL. This is the URL I want all my links to go to now for this email. So we'll just use Control V to paste this in here. We had a text hyperlink to update where a hyperlink takes someone. Click on this little pencil icon beside the link. Reopens our field up here. We can erase that out of there, put our new one in. We had an image. Update that. And I'm going to clone this button again. There we go. And drag it down. Get rid of the old one. All right, so we're all set. Hit save, close, hit next. Actually, let's preview this. Make sure we go to lesson 2. Hey, we went to lesson 2. Perfect. So that worked. We'll close this, hit next, and now we schedule it. So even though I already have one automation set to a 1-day delay, the delay we set here is always a delay from when they were first added to the list. So this would now be 48 hours or 2 days. Whatever I set here, it'll plop it into the sequence here accordingly to what the delay is. So we'll review for sending. We can send ourselves a test email if we want. Make that live, make it live. And there we go. We'll start collecting stats when people hit this automation step. So the way it works is they fill in our registration form, right? The sign up form. They get added to the registration list. The list is connected to this follow funnel, which we see right here. 1 day after someone gets added to this list, they get this first email. 2 days after someone gets added to this list, they get this second email. So we just repeat that all for all of our following lessons. Just the same thing sort of over and over again, updating the copy in each email. So once you create the first one, create your template. It's super fast and easy to create the rest of your steps. That's pretty much it, guys. We have everything connected. I built up my pages, my lists, my follow-up funnel. We only did 2 of the emails. We do more emails, but that is basically, I guess, that should function. Make sure we test that before we send anyone to it. That's pretty much it. I do see some questions in the Q&A and everything. So let's dive into some of those questions right off the bat here in the chat. Lucy is asking about the replays. If there's anyone waiting for the replays and doesn't want to stick around for the Q&A, let me show you guys how to access those replays right now. So basically, you just want to get over to the Virtual Hackathon membership area. So again, you can do it from Funnelflix. You can do it right from your ClickFunnels dashboard even. If you click on the Join Hackathon button, it'll take you right into that membership area. Click on any of the titles for any of the hackathons coming up on the calendar. That'll take you right to the membership area. If you do it from Funnelflix, you can click here or here at the top. That'll load it up for you. You can even go to virtualhackathons.com/get started. I just pasted that in the chat, and that'll take you here as well. So lots of ways to get here. Everything related to virtual hackathons takes you to here. On here again, guys, you can register for the session. So make sure you sign up for this afternoon session where I'm going to teach you about case study phone funnels, webinar phone funnels. But in here, all you have to do is click right here. There's a whole section, hackathon recordings. If you click on that, you'll see all the recordings that are currently available right inside of here. So yesterday afternoon, we did live webinar funnels, and it's right in here. This session will get posted during this afternoon session. So each session gets posted during the next live session. Now they do get posted in here. They stay here for at least 48 hours at a time, but as you can see, some do stay up a little bit longer, and then they do get taken down eventually. The reason we do that is we want you guys to keep coming back live to the hackathon so that you can ask questions while we're teaching you. Normally we get to answer your questions like more real time in the chat and everything. If I had Adam with me here, so I do apologize for the delay on some of the question answering today, but that's how you're going to get the most value out of these sessions. Like attending live, seeing how I do this, asking great questions. That's how you're going to get the most value, but also like things are constantly being updated and changed. The software is getting new features. Strategies are changing a little bit. We want to make sure you get the most up-to-date training on each of these funnel types. So make sure you keep coming back live, asking questions, but you can always find the recordings right here in the Virtual Hackathon membership area. As soon as they're available, you'll just come in here, you'll see it in here. and it's usually during the next session, like I mentioned. So that's how it works, guys. It's right there. Membership area, all kinds of other great stuff I put together for you guys in here, like the success guide, strategy videos, tech videos, bonus trainings are down in here as well. So all kinds of cool stuff for you guys right here in the virtual hackathon membership area. So that's the recordings. If you're just waiting for that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Hopefully I'll see you in session 2. But we have lots of questions in the Q&A session. We're going to have a nice little Q&A discussion here and go through all these questions. So let's see. Let's do the Q&A section here first. David said, how can you add multiple affiliate badges to a funnel? Example, one for Bahrain and another from Braha. So first, David, what I would recommend is inside of FunnelFlix, going through this training right here where it says affiliate. Highly recommend. This will give you tons of different affiliate ideas. So when you say affiliate badge, that might confuse some people because there's a ClickFunnels affiliate badge that gets applied to every step of your funnel. And you can actually control whether that shows up. So it's actually turned on this page right now. We have a ClickFunnels affiliate badge that pops up in the bottom right-hand corner. If someone were to click on this link and purchase a ClickFunnels account, I would get a commission on them creating that account. But it sounds like you want to have basically like buttons people can click on to go to affiliate links for different affiliates that you promote, like different promotions that you do as an affiliate. So I would normally have that on like a thank you page, maybe like after an order form or after like a lead magnet or something. Somewhere where I'd have like next steps to follow. So ignore what's actually on this page, but what I would do is have like, say I wanted to have 2 different options. I'd do a 2-column row, and then I'd just have like 2 different buttons. So I'd have like a button over here, and this would be like click to get Bahrain, and then I'd have another button over here, and this would be like click to get Braha. Sorry, I messed up the spelling here. And then what you do is set the action on the button to go to a website URL, erase what's in here, and you would paste your affiliate link right into here. And I would usually set it to open in a new tab / window. So let's just say this is my affiliate link. And then for whatever Braha is, set the action on this one to go to website URL, and it'll be, this is my affiliate link for that, right? So ignore the sign up form on this page. I'm just using this as a page to access the editor for you. But let's imagine this was like a thank you page or a last page in the funnel, and I'd say like, here's your next steps to follow. Click here to get this, takes them to that affiliate URL, or click here to get this, and takes them to that affiliate URL. So hopefully that's helpful, David. Deb says, I'm having big difficulty making the images look good, either too big, too small. Why is this? I've searched help and have not had a lot of success. So images, the way images work is they're kind of constrained to the size of the column that they're in. So for example, if I add an image right here, let's just do the virtual hackathon logo here. It's going to be this big. That's the biggest I can make this image within the confines of this column inside of this section. But if I made my section bigger, so in the section settings, you can control the section width. It's currently set to medium. If I set it to full page, well, now that whole section's bigger, but also my image is bigger. But I can even make it bigger than that by controlling the section of my width, or my row, because the row is sort of the container for my element, right? but the container for my row is the section, which is now bigger. So I can actually make this a little bit bigger. So in a row, we can adjust the width here. So we can make it smaller or bigger. So now it's slightly bigger. And this is actually probably as big as I can make it. Now, if I wanted to make it smaller, if I go into the settings, you can control the width and the height. Let's see, I could set my width to like 100, right? And that automatically adjusted the height to go with it. So let's do like 300, for example. I always recommend only changing either the width or the height. If I make my height crazy, I end up with a ridiculous image, right? So I usually just do one or the other, and then it will automatically adjust the height to make it like the native sort of resolution so that the image still looks proper. So only do one or the other, width or height. So for example, like if I don't set anything, it's just going to make it as big as it can go. Now, if the image I uploaded was smaller than this, it couldn't go any bigger than the actual native size of the image. So I have to like put it into Photoshop, make it bigger, and then re-upload it into my ClickFunnels account. If you have it in, say, like a really small column, like that's as big as I can make it in that column, right? Because that's the confines of that column in that row. So hopefully that helps you understand the images a little bit. You sort of have to play around with things, but it's all kind of confined by the space that you have it inside of, the container that you have it inside of. So hopefully that's helpful, Deb. Dominic says, what if I use, say, GetResponse for my emails? How do I proceed with follow-up? So if you're using GetResponse for your emails, you wouldn't do all the follow-up funnel stuff that I set up. What you do is actually integrate GetResponse with your ClickFunnels account. So what I would do is go to Help and then Docs. And here search GetResponse or whatever your third-party autoresponder is. And you'll find a doc integrating with GetResponse. This will teach you how to connect it to your ClickFunnels account. Then what you do is, for my follow-up funnel, right, I added them to my registration list inside of my opt-in page, right? So I added them to the registration list here instead of follow-up funnels. We would need to add them to a list inside of our GetResponse account, and then all the emails and stuff would be set up on their end. So what you do is once it's integrated on the opt-in page here, instead of connecting it to your list inside of ClickFunnels, you would connect it to your list inside of GetResponse. So I go to Settings and Integrations, and when I hit the integration dropdown, as long as I'm integrated with GetResponse, it'll show up in here. I select it from here, which imagine I just did, then it'll have the action Add to List, and then I choose the list I want to add them to inside of my GetResponse account. So you wouldn't be using follow-up funnels, you'd be automating everything on the GetResponse side. That's about as far as I can teach you on how to do that part, Dominic. So hopefully that's helpful. Walter says, is the email integration a double opt-in? The emails we set up are not a double opt-in, but in that help desk, if you search for double opt-in, there is a way to set it up. It's a little bit extra work setting up double opt-in for emails from follow-up funnels, but you can set it up. Let's see. I haven't done it in a really long time. And there's a few extra steps, but I think if we do double opt-in, I think this is it right here. Yes, this is it right here. So you want to follow this document right here. And I'll paste that in the chat for you, Walter. Hopefully you're still here, Walter. All right, there we go. David said, how can you limit the time for a video that you sent in an email? I don't really know what that means. You wouldn't be able to limit the time of the email. You're saying you want to like send it to them and then eventually it goes away for them. You would need what's called an evergreen countdown timer. There's something called deadlinefunnels.com. You can integrate that with a page on your ClickFunnels account and it'll actually track. I think that's it, deadlinefunnels.com. I think that's it. I haven't used this in a really long time. Yes, this is it. So it would be deadlinefunnels.com. I'll paste that in the chat for you, David. Basically, the way that this works is it creates what's like a true evergreen timer. They'll track like the first time they visit, and anytime they come back, they'll know how much time it's been since they returned. Unfortunately, like we do have countdown timers inside of ClickFunnels, but they don't quite work the same as that. You wouldn't be able to do a true like return and track how long they've been gone for kind of timer. But Deadline Funnels does have an option for that. Not a ClickFunnels product, but we'll get you the result you're looking for. Bear said, any tools you can recommend to reduce the size of a file to get a pic to the required size for uploading it into your library? So as far as I know, Bear, there's no limit on an image size when uploading it into an image library. But personally, I use Photoshop. There's all kinds of free tools like Canva and stuff like that. Maybe canva.com, I'm pretty sure you can start for free with canva.com. Create an account and yeah, you can sign up for free. You can do a lot of image and editing there in Canva. It's really popular for a lot of marketers. And you could make the image smaller and then upload it again if you wanted to. It's a great resource there. So I'll paste that in the chat. Canva, canva.com. There we go. Lots of links going in the chat. Anna said, what if you use an email service provider like ActiveCampaign? Do you set up follow-up funnel emails in there? So Anna, that would be the same response that I just gave for GetResponse. You would just integrate ActiveCampaign, and then you'd be adding to your lists in ActiveCampaign, and you'd be setting all of your emails up in ActiveCampaign. You wouldn't be able to use the emails you design inside of ClickFunnels. So same idea, just where is it? In the Help Center, you would search ActiveCampaign, and it would teach you how to integrate it with your ClickFunnels account so that that will show up in the dropdown. All right, so what else do we got in here? Michael says, was wondering, is there a way to clear the follow-up funnels of all of the test emails that we used when we first test the setup? So the closest thing to that, Michael, is to do this. Find your test contacts. So here, where are we? Here we go. Where am I? I guess this one, we'll use this one. Okay. Go into your contacts list inside of follow-up funnels. Find the test email that you're seeing in like your stats or wherever you're seeing it. Search for it. So just find that contact. Oh, sorry. Find one that has, actually it doesn't matter, just whatever contact it is. So where you'll see like everything you know about that contact so far. You're going to click here on edit profile for that contact. Once you do that, scroll down to the bottom, click on archive contact, click on archive, and then that should remove it and you won't see it in your stats or anything anymore. So that's how I would do that, Michael. So to find the contact profile and then archive it. Dominic says, how do you create an order form from scratch? Well, we didn't create an order form today, Dominic, but and we won't be building one this afternoon either, but we did build one yesterday. It takes a little bit of time to actually build it out. So that'd be like the majority of a hackathon spent building that out. So what I'll refer you to is the recording from yesterday. If we go into the virtual hackathon membership area, I built one in sales letter funnels. I built one in challenger membership funnels. This one actually is probably the best one, cart and book funnels. Check out this one. We do a deep dive on product creation in this session right here. Cart and book funnels. Check out that one. Basically all of these except for summit funnels. I built an order form in all of them. So you can check out any of those recordings to watch me building an order form. So I'll refer you to those, Dominic. So that would take a little bit of time to go through right now. Let's see, Gloria said, can you clear the air on secret scripts or funnel scripts? I don't know what secret scripts is, but funnel scripts is a really cool tool. It's amazing. Unfortunately, it's not a ClickFunnels product, so you would have to pay for it. But if you go to funnelscripts.com, this is a tool that'll help you with creating copy. So like all the words on your pages. Jim Edwards is an amazing copywriter. He's been in the game forever. Has tested tons and tons of copy. Good friend of Russell, as you can see here. Let me show you how it works. Actually, I have a login. Actually, bought an account here. And the way it works is he has all these different script generators. So there's all kinds of amazing generators in here. So like you have like a sales letter script generator. Click on like what type of script you're putting together. Maybe I want to do a long form sales letter. And basically just asks you these questions in here, and you fill in the questions, and then it just automatically, like obviously there's a lot of questions here for this one because it's a long form sales letter, but you fill it all in, and then you click on build, and it'll give you all these different examples of the sales copy you could use on your sales page. There's all kinds of copy for like emails and everything else inside of here. It's a huge time saver. Now the copy isn't always perfect. Sometimes you have to reword things a little bit, but it's like such a time saver. Copywriting is something I personally struggle with. So whenever I'm building my personal funnels, I always use this tool because it just allows me to be a little bit more confident. It gives me lots of options as well that I can like split test against each other. So I highly recommend Funnel Scripts. Fortunately, it's not part of your ClickFunnels package. You would have to pay for it, but it is an amazing tool that'll save you a ton of time. So do highly recommend it. I don't know what Secret Scripts is. I can only vouch for Funnel Scripts. Awesome. I saw another question in the chat. Let me find it here. It was Ali. Ali said, what do you call the image that shows MasterCard, Visa card, and other credit cards? Where can I go to find it? So for that, Ali, you'd have to be on an order form page. So let's actually let's go to one of my funnels with an order form on it. Actually, you might not even have to be on an order form page, but it'll make more sense on an order form. So here I have an order form. And sometimes like below the buy button, you'll see this will be like little credit card samples. It's just an image actually, Ali. It's an image element. And then I believe it's available in our stock images. Let's check. I haven't looked for this in a while. If you go to stock images, and yeah, it's right here. There's two of them right here. So there's this one. That's the one you probably see the most often. And there's this one in here as well. All it is an image element. So hopefully that's helpful, Ali. You can upload other images that might look a little bit better than those ones too. If you have like preferred options, like mine, I'd probably just put like maybe Visa and MasterCard. There's all kinds of like images you can find online for that. Maybe even in Icon Finder, you can find some. I'm not sure, but that's all it is. It's a stock image from our stock image section. All right, guys, so that's all the questions. Hopefully you all had an amazing experience here this morning. I had an absolute blast teaching you all about product launch funnels. Like I said, one of my favorite funnels. For some reason, like a lot of people have a hard time understanding like how, like a lot of people will think it's like this fancy like video player, but it's really just like a series of pages. A lot of people seem to have a hard time grasping that. So once you can get past that, just realize it's a series of funnel steps. It's not really that hard. And somehow it was actually the first funnel I ever figured out. So hopefully you had a blast. I had an amazing time teaching you all about this. As I mentioned, I will be back again in just like 3.5 hours, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be doing it again live. I'm going to be teaching you how to build some high ticket application funnels. So those are for like your really high ticket offers, like things you're going to have to get on the phone to sell because they cost so much. Maybe you're selling a car or something. You want to get on the phone, get those people over to you to buy. It's an amazing type of funnel. It'll make you tons of money. So hopefully I'll see you there this afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you get into that virtual hackathon membership area, sign up for session 2. I'll see you all this afternoon. Take care, everybody.